Chapter 939. Dr. Zhang thought about it for a while before he suddenly looked up at Imo Chuan. Emperor, after the Empress was poisoned, did you give her any antidote? Or some elixir? Imo Chuan shook his head. After she was poisoned, she quickly stopped breathing. This one did not have time to give her the antidote. That's strange. The Empress stopped breathing and her body turned cold, so she should be dead by now, but her heart is still beating and her chest is still warm. According to this old minister's judgment, the Empress should have eaten something like 1,000-year-old flower root. It was because of the spirituality of that medicine that the Empress was able to survive. Dr. Zhang stroked his beard as he spoke in deep thought. Imo Chuan's eyes instantly lit up. Then your meaning is that as long as there is 1,000-year-old flower root, she can be saved, right? It should be like this. The Empress poison is very strong, killing people instantly. The Empress being able to live until now should be because of the elixirs she has eaten. This 1,000-year-old flower root and flower root have the effect of reviving the dead, so if we can get one of them, the Empress will be able to come back to life. However, these two things are legendary items that are rarely seen in 100 years. This old minister has only heard of them and has never seen them before. Wanting to obtain these two treasures, it is easier said than done. He said this while shaking his head and sighing. The light of hope that had just appeared in Imo Chuan's eyes instantly dimmed. He gritted his teeth and looked at Zhui Feng. Zhui Feng, send out all the secret guards to find the 1,000-year-old flower root and flower root. No matter what the cost, you have to obtain them. Zhui Feng replied, Yes, Emperor. When he was prepared to leave, he heard Dr. Zhang say, Emperor, unless you can find the antidote within 24 hours, it will be too late. This elixir can only protect the Empress' heart for 24 hours at most. If that time passes, even a great principal golden immortal will not be able to save her. Xiao Si and Zhui Feng couldn't help giving an sound as their faces turned pale. Looking at each other, they could see the despair in each other's eyes. There was only 24 hours, but they had to find the legendary rare treasures. This was simply as hard as ascending to the heavens. Zhui Feng, why aren't you going? Imo Chuan shouted out in a deep voice, waking Zhui Feng up from his daze. Yes. Zhui Feng did not stop as he used his qigong to quickly disappear in front of everyone. Imo Chuan tightly gritted his teeth. There was still 24 hours, that meant she could live for another 24 hours. This meant he had another 24 hours of hope. Xiao Si, bring some people to all the medical centers in the capital to look for the 1,000-year-old Poria cocos and fleeceflower root. Yes, Your Majesty. Xiao Si solemnly accepted the order and rushed out with large steps. Imo Chuan turned around and slowly sat down in front of the bed. He held Chen Ning's hand and stared at her face. In these 24 hours, he did not want to leave her for even a second. He wanted to watch over her. Dr. Zhang couldn't help shaking his head. He carried the medicine box and silently left, going to the side hall to boil the medicine. Because the emperor was also poisoned, as a doctor, he naturally had to prioritize the emperor's body. Yiting Xian, who had not spoken for a long time, suddenly walked forward. Chapter 940. 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. A light suddenly flashed in Imo Chuan's mind. He quickly looked up and looked at Yiting Xian. This one remembers, it's the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. That's right, it's the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. Ning told me before that Chu Xiaoyang had given her a bowl of snow ginseng soup, but he had put a despicable drug in it. That's right, it was that bowl of snow ginseng soup that saved Ning-er's life. His mood was very complex. He didn't know if he should hate Chu Xiaoyang or thank him for saving Ning-er's life. Emperor, the Empress only drank a bowl of snow ginseng soup. According to what this minister knows, the snow ginseng given by the East Qin crown prince has already been formed. It is impossible for it to only be a bowl of soup. So this minister thinks that King Ding Yuan must have some left over. If the emperor sends someone to find King Ding Yuan and if he is willing to give up the rest of the snow ginseng, the empress can be saved. After Yiting Xian said this, he silently retreated to the side. He knew that if he wanted Chu Xiaoyang to give up the snow ginseng to save Qin Ning, it would be harder than ascending to the heavens, but this was the only hope of saving Qin Ning. Mo Chuan's pupil shrank. He already understood Yiting Xian's meaning. That's right, only Chu Xiaoyang could save her now, but would Chu Xiaoyang be willing to take out the snow ginseng to save her? Mo Chuan thought of Chu Xiaoyang's eyes filled with hatred. He knew that Chu Xiaoyang would definitely not agree. But this was the only way to save her. He had to agree even if he didn't want to. Ting Xian, help this one guard this place. Don't let anyone disturb her, even if the Empress Dowager comes, do you understand? As long as someone dares take a step into the Guan Yu Palace, they will be killed. This is this one's gold medallion, holding it is like this one is here. Your words are this one's words. This one wants you to protect her, can you do it? Mo Chuan took the gold medallion from his waist and placed it in Yiting Xian's hands. Yiting Xian kneeled down to receive it and said in a clear voice, "This minister will not disappoint the emperor's trust." He knew what the emperor was going to do. As he took the heavy gold medal, it was as if a heavy burden had been placed on his shoulders. All right, this one will temporarily entrust her to you. Then within 24 hours, this one will be back. After Mo Chuan said this, he turned around to take a deep look at Qin Ning before turning around to leave without looking back. Yiting Xian only saw his red figure flash up to the roof. At this moment, Chu Xiaobai was already carrying Chu Xiaoyang back to the King Ding Yuan palace. He directly went to the Peach Blossom house and placed Chu Xiaoyang in a chair, but he did not release his acupuncture point. Third brother, I know you will definitely hate me, but I can't let you do anything wrong. When the sun rises tomorrow, I will unseal your acupuncture point. Tonight, you should rest here for the night. I will accompany you here the whole time. Chu Xiaoyang's chest went up and down from his anger. His eyes stared right at Chu Xiaobai's face, wishing he could punch a hole in his face. If it wasn't for his mute acupuncture point being sealed, he would have already cursed Chu Xiaobai out. Chu Xiaoqin knew this, so he didn't seal his heart, saving his ears from the pain. He thought about it and placed Chu Xiaoyang on the bed, covering him with a blanket. The sky was already turning dark at this time and the light of dusk entered the room. Chapter 941. He was holding a military book in his hand. Chu Xiaobai flipped through a few pages, but he couldn't get into it. He stared at the pages in a daze as his mind wandered to the heavens. His heart flew into the palace. He couldn't help thinking, how did she become the emperor's bride? He had clearly seen her leave with Na Mukyo's carriage that day. Could it be that Na Mukyo would let her go? Perhaps he had seen the wrong person and his third brother had also seen the wrong person. It was just a girl with a similar figure to her. Chu Xiaobai gave a faint sigh and put down the military book. He turned around and saw Chu Xiaoyang staring at him with dark red eyes. He thought about it and released Chu Xiaoyang's mute acupuncture point. Chu Xiaoyang almost immediately began to curse. Chu Xiaobai, you fucking release father's acupuncture point. He shook his head, third brother, if I unseal your acupuncture points, you will rush into the imperial palace. You will anger the emperor, and you will cause a great disaster. I hope you can calm down. No matter if the person the emperor is marrying today is Ning or not, you have no qualifications or reason to destroy their marriage. They have already been married. Chu Xiaoyang gritted his teeth and coldly said, Chu Xiaobai, you really are a complete fool. You wholeheartedly worked for the emperor and even gave your favorite woman to him, but how did he treat you? Did he ever trust you? Did he ever feel grateful to you? I don't think so. He doesn't trust you at all, hiding everything from you. You're even more pitiful than me. He sold you out and you're still helping him count his money. Don't you think you're stupid? Even now you're still helping him. Do you even know how close you are? I, Chu Xiaoyang, am your blood-related brother and we are the ones who have blood thicker than water. What does that Chu Mo Chuan count for? He is just a traitor that usurped our royal father's position. He took away my throne, and now he has taken away my woman. Tell me, should I hate him or not? Say it, say it. Chu Xiaobai's face turned white. His hands clenched into fists and his joints popped out. Third brother, shut your mouth. What you're saying right now is disrespectful to the emperor. Your throne was not stolen by the emperor, it was because third brother was young at the time and our West Chu was facing internal and external troubles. If third brother had ascended to the throne at the time, not only would you not have saved our royal father, you would have harmed the citizens of our West Chu country. Chu Xiaobai's words were cut off by Chu Xiaoyang's cold laugh before he could finish. Chu Xiaobai, Xiaobai, Chu Xiaoyang, I was young at the time. How old are you? How much do you know? How much? If I didn't guess wrong, the Empress Dowager must have whispered a lot of things into your ears these years. Did she say these words? Chu Xiao Chu Mother Chu, he Shaoli with him, I said back. Chu Chu to them to Chu to, he Chu, he Chu Chu, he Chu, Chu Mo Chuan is shameless and his mother Empress Dowager Zhou is even more shameless. Chu Xiaobai's face turned even paler and his lips trembled. If these words were to spread, even if Chu Xiaoyang had 100 heads, it wouldn't be enough. Chapter 942. That's because the person sitting on the throne is not me. How do you know I can't do it? I hate the mother and son, I hate them for stealing my throne and stealing my wife. I want to take back everything that belongs to me. Chu Xiaobai, if you are still my blood-related little brother, don't stop me and stand with me. Could it be you've forgotten where our royal father is right now? He is currently a prisoner in East Qin, living a life worse than death. But what about Chu Mo Chuan? After all these years, has he ever thought about sending troops to East Qin? Has he ever thought about saving our royal father back to the country? He never has. Because he is afraid that once our royal father returns, he will steal his throne. Chu Xiaoyang forcefully gasped for breath like an angry lion. He roared out louder and louder, roaring out without caring about anything. These words had been in his heart for 10 years, almost suffocating him. Chu Xiaobai's lips moved, wanting to refute his words, but he did not know how to refute them. Thinking of his royal father that he had not seen in 10 years, his heart filled with sorrow and guilt. He was living a luxurious life in the capital city, but what about his royal father? He had become a prisoner in another country, not even knowing if his royal father was alive or dead. He wholeheartedly supported the emperor by his side, hoping to make West Chu stronger day by day. Then he could defeat East Qin and save his royal father back to the country. But after 10 years, he still could not see a trace of hope. East Qin was becoming stronger day by day, while West Chu was swaying in the wind and could be swallowed by East Qin at any time. Saving his royal father back to the country had already become an unrealistic dream. Chu Xiaobai's eyes became hot and tears began to fall. Third brother, don't say any more. It's not that the emperor doesn't want to save royal father, it's just that now is not the time. Compared to East Qin's military strength, even if we send out troops, we have no chance of winning at all. If you say these words again, it's the same as usurping the throne. Ha, ha, usurping the throne. Who am I usurping? Who am I usurping? It was clearly Chu Mo Chuan who usurped my throne. I just want to take back everything that belongs to me. Chu Xiaoyang roared out. Third brother, be a bit quieter. Even if this is your palace, it's hard to guarantee that the walls have ears. If these words were to reach the emperor's ears, would you still have a life? What am I afraid of? I don't have anything now, the throne, the princess. I only have my life left. If Chu Mo Chuan wants it, he can take it away at any time. Third brother, you. Chu Xiaobai looked at the crazy Chu Xiaoyang and didn't know how to wake him up. His ears suddenly moved and he seemed to hear the sound of the wind blowing leaves. Although this sound was very soft, when it fell into the ears of a martial artist like Chu Xiaobai, he could immediately tell that it was not a leaf, but rather an expert with excellent qigong had come. Chu 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 chu. Chu Xiaobai's expression turned cold and he released Chu Xiaoyang's acupuncture point without even thinking. His instincts told him that it was an enemy. Perhaps they were here to harm his third brother. Chu Xiaoyang did not even have time to get up from the bed before he heard a clear and cold voice from outside the window. It's me. Chapter 943. With a ping sound, the two long windows seemed to be blown open by the wind. A person wearing a blood-red robe with thick eyebrows, dark eyes, and a head of black hair was blown by the wind. His jade-like face was as still as water, without any expression at all. Greetings to the emperor. Chu Xiaobai immediately fell to the ground and his back was instantly covered in a cold sweat. He never would have dreamed that Mo Chuan would suddenly appear here. Moreover, the emperor was wearing that bright red wedding robe, that was his wedding robe. At this time, shouldn't the emperor be in the bridal room with her? Why was he here? Didn't the conversation between him and his third brother fall into the emperor's ears? Thinking of this, Chu Xiaobai's body was covered in a cold sweat. Chu Xiaoyang slowly stood up from the bed. His slender body was straight and a pair of blood-red eyes stared right at Mo Chuan. He did not kneel down or bow, he just looked at Mo Chuan without saying a word. Chu Xiaobai was so anxious that he began to sweat. He kept giving Chu Xiaoyang meaningful looks, but Chu Xiaoyang ignored them. Emperor, please forgive me. My third brother is drunk and his mind is not clear, causing him to lose his etiquette. I ask for the emperor's forgiveness. Hearing Chu Xiaobai's words, Chu Xiaoyang couldn't help giving a cold laugh. Xiaobai, this king doesn't need you to plead for me, I just don't want to kneel down to him. If he wants to kill me, then kill him. Chu Mo Chuan, I knew that you wouldn't be able to hold back and would make a move against me sooner or later. I've been waiting for you for a long, long time, but I never thought that you would choose this kind of special day. Very good, take my head as your wedding gift. After he said this, his right hand reached out and pulled out a long sword from the wall. With a wave of his hand, the long sword came out of the sheath and flew at Mo Chuan. Third brother, what are you doing? Mo Xiaobai's heart skipped a beat. He saw the long sword pierce through the window frame with a chi sound and the sword hilt kept shaking, right in front of Mo Chuan. Chu Mo Chuan, use this sword to take my head. Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold laugh. There was not a trace of drunkenness in his eyes at all. Third brother, don't speak nonsense. How can you directly call the emperor's name? Chu Xiaobai never thought that Chu Xiaoyang would be this bold. He couldn't even cover it for the other side. In my heart, he has long since ceased to be the emperor. He stole my throne, and today, he even stole my woman. Do you think I can still treat him as the emperor? Chu Mo Chuan, do you dare say that the one who married you today isn't Ning? Chu Mo Chuan, do you dare say that the one? Chu Xiaoyang's eyes turned blood red from jealousy. He suddenly did not want to endure it anymore. Perhaps he had suppressed it for too long and it was finally time for it to explode. Mo Chuan looked at him with an expressionless face. He was not angry or hateful, he just looked at Chu Xiaoyang like this. Chu Xiaobai's heart tightened. He realized that something must have happened, otherwise the emperor would not have appeared here at this time. Emperor, did something happen in the palace? He asked in a soft voice. Mo Chuan did not look at him. He just stared at Chu Xiaoyang and slowly nodded. That's right, Chu Xiaoyang, you're right. It was me who stole your throne, the emperor should have been yours. Hearing this, Chu Xiaoyang and Chu Xiaobai were both stunned. Chapter 944. What do you mean? Chu Xiaoyang stared right at Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan took out a bright yellow silk bag from his chest and threw it into Chu Xiaoyang's chest without even looking. Chu Xiaoyang subconsciously caught it. It was very heavy in his hands. His heart couldn't help skipping a beat as his right hand reached into the silk bag. It was cold to the touch and smooth. When he took it out, he found that it was actually a jade seal. Emperor. Chu Xiaobai's face fell as he looked at Mo Chuan in disbelief. He never would have thought that the emperor would not come to punish his third brother, he would even give the country's jade seal to his third brother. Something big must have happened. Chu Xiaoyang looked at the jade seal in his hand. That cold and heavy jade seal was in his hands. This jade seal was the symbol of imperial power. This was something that he had always dreamed of, and now it had fallen into his hands. He stared at the jade seal and suddenly looked up. He broke out in laughter, laughing until tears came out. Mo Chuan, you're giving me the jade seal so that I can die in peace, right? You really are kind enough. Ha, 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 ha. Chu Xiaoyang, you want the throne, I'll give it to you. You want the jade seal, I'll give it to you. I'll give all of this to you. I just want one thing from you. Mo Chuan looked at Chu Xiaoyang and said this word for word. Chu Xiaoyang's laughter suddenly stopped. He stared at Mo Chuan and said in a cold voice, everything I have has been taken by you, what else do you want from me? My life. Come and take it. I don't want your life, I want that 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. I'll use the throne to exchange for it. As long as you give me the snow ginseng, I'm willing to abdicate in front of the citizens and let you ascend to the throne. Mo Chuan looked at him with a serious expression. Emperor. What are you saying? Are you drunk? Chu Xiaobai almost suspected that there was a problem with his ears. Today, the emperor's words were like one thunderbolt after another, blowing him up until he was dizzy. Chu Xiaoyang was stunned. He was the same as Chu Xiaobai, not believing a single word Mo Chuan said. He thought that Mo Chuan's words were sarcastic, he was here to take his life. Mo Chuan, stop pretending to be merciful. Are you willing to give the throne to me? Hey, your words are even better than singing. You're actually using the throne to exchange for that 1,000-year-old snow ginseng? Do you think Chu Xiaoyang is a 3-year-old child? Do you think Chu Xiaoyang is a 3-year-old child? I'm not lying to you, I'm serious. Chu Xiaoyang, I've even given you the jade seal, what else do you not believe? As long as you give me that snow ginseng, this emperor will be yours. I will immediately write the abdication edict and abdicate to you. Mo Chuan Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Chao Xiao Chu. Chin at chin. Mo Chuan, you said. You're going to immediately write the edict. He stared right at Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan nodded without any hesitation, not bad. Chu Xiaoyang was filled with joy, but he didn't dare believe it. He was afraid that Mo Chuan was just casually lying to him. Alright, write the edict first and I'll immediately give you the snow ginseng. Alright. Mo Chuan did not hesitate at all. He picked up the pen on the table and took out a piece of paper. He raised the pen and began to write. After a while, an abdication edict appeared on the paper. Now you just need to stamp it and it will take effect. Chapter 945. Third brother, don't. Chu Xiaobai saw Chu Xiaoyang holding the jade seal and placing it on the cinnabar clay, about to stamp it on the edict. He quickly came forward to stop him. Move aside. This matter has nothing to do with you. Xiaobai, you saw it with your own eyes and heard it with your own ears. I didn't force him, he willingly abdicated the throne to me. This is something sent to me, why can't I take it? Chu Xiaoyang waved his right palm and a sharp palm energy shot out at Chu Xiaobai, forcing him back several steps. The jade seal in his left hand fell down and heavily stamped the edict. Then he raised the edict and broke out in a proud laugh. I'm going to be the emperor. Ha, ha, I'm finally going to be the emperor. The throne that has been stolen from me for 10 years has finally returned to my hands, ha, ha. He had waited for 10 years, looking forward for 10 years, finally waiting for this day. His heart was filled with joy and anger, excitement, and pride. He raised his head and laughed, feeling satisfied and proud of himself. Third brother. Chu Xiaobai looked at Chu Xiaoyang who was laughing like crazy and there was an indescribable feeling in his heart. There was sympathy, pity, and sorrow. This was because he knew that even if his third brother became the emperor, he wouldn't be able to do better than Mo Chuan because his heart was much narrower and more selfish than Mo Chuan. He had a tyrannical personality and did not treat people kindly. If the West Chu world fell into his third brother's hands, it would not be a good thing. He turned to look at Mo Chuan. He couldn't understand why the emperor would suddenly make such a shocking decision. Wasn't today the day of his wedding? He had married the best girl in the world, shouldn't he be proud of his success? Shouldn't he be filled with joy, excitement? Why couldn't he see any of this from the emperor's face? Chu Xiaobai could see a trace of fear on Mo Chuan's expressionless face. His sleeves were slightly trembling and he was filled with fear. His eyes were filled with anger and sorrow. He actually wanted to use the throne to exchange for 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. Could it be that the snow ginseng was more important than the throne in the emperor's heart? No. Chu Xiaobai knew that there was only one person in the emperor's heart that was more important than the throne. Your Majesty, tell me, did something happen to Ning-er? Tell me, what happened to Ning-er? Chu Xiaobai suddenly came forward and grabbed Mo Chuan's sleeve. He didn't care about the difference between a ruler and a minister as he stared at Mo Chuan's eyes. A huge fear rose in his heart, causing his entire body to turn cold. Mo Chuan did not look at him, his eyes never left Chu Xiaoyang. I've already given you the edict, where is the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng? He reached out his hand to Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaoyang slowly stopped laughing. He had already recovered from his ecstasy because Chu Xiaobai's words reminded him that the emperor would actually use the throne to exchange for a snow ginseng that was not worth a single coin in his eyes. Xiao, the 1,000-year snow ginseng was a life-saving item. This meant that he was going to use it to save someone who was more important to him than the throne. Without a doubt, this person was his Ning-er. Chu's heart trembled, Chu Xiao's face. Chu Xiao, Chu Xiao. Yang, do with Yang, do with him, Yang Sha with. Yang to shay with him with shakes. With, Chu. With Shaw. Chapter 946. Chu Xiaoyang, don't you want the throne the most in this world? I've already given it back to you. This snow ginseng is useless to you and you're giving up this chance, don't you regret it? Mo Chuan opened his eyes and stared at him as he spoke. Chu Xiaoyang's lips curled and he revealed a cold smile of ridicule. Do you think I, Chu Xiaoyang, am a fool? If it wasn't to save Ning, would you be willing to exchange the throne for the snow ginseng? Tell me, did something happen to Ning, You want to use the snow ginseng to save her life, right? Mo Chuan took a deep breath. He knew that Chu Xiaoyang was very smart. Since he had already guessed it, he couldn't hide it anymore. Yes, she has been poisoned by an incomparably poisonous snake and her life is in danger. She can only live for another 24 hours. If she doesn't take this 1,000-year-old snow ginseng, her life will be in danger. Mo Chuan said in a low voice. His hands were in his sleeves and tightly clenched into fists. What did you say? Chu Xiaoyang's face turned white and he threw the edict in his hand to the ground. Just a moment ago, the edict had been incomparably attractive in his eyes. But now, his attention was no longer on it. Say it again. Chu Xiaoyang's body slightly swayed before stabilizing himself. Chu Xiaobai did not say anything and just closed his eyes. This was because he had already guessed most of it. He didn't know how she was poisoned, but as long as she had the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng, no matter how strong the poison was, it would be cured. Someone hid a poisonous snake in the gift and she was bitten by the snake. Her life is in danger and she needs the snow ginseng to save her life. Chu Xiaoyang, I'll give you what you want. I only want the snow ginseng, I only want to save her life. Mo Chuan said in a deep voice, but his voice couldn't help trembling. Chu Xiaoyang was stunned. When he heard that her life was in danger, his heart filled with pain, but he quickly calmed down and a wild joy filled his heart. Good chance, this was truly a good chance. Ha, 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 ha. He couldn't control himself as he broke out in laughter again. His laughter was filled with joy. His laughter made Chu Xiaobai's expression change. Mo Chuan stared at him and his chin tightened. Third brother, are you crazy? Hearing that Ning is in danger, you can still smile. Chu Xiaobai looked at Chu Xiaoyang in disbelief. Of course I'm going to laugh. I'm too happy because the heavens have finally pitied me and given me such a great gift. Tell me, shouldn't I be happy? Should he be happy? Ha, ha ha ha. Chu Xiaoyang laughed until tears came out. Mo Chuan's face became darker and darker. He looked at him without saying a word, but his heart sank. Chu Xiaoyang was very smart, he was too smart. He indeed had the qualifications to smile like this. Third brother, stop laughing. Do you hate Ning that much? You're so happy to hear that her life is in danger. What is your heart made of exactly? Is your blood cold? Can't you wait for her to die? Chu Xiaobai forcefully gritted his teeth. He suddenly charged over and pulled out the sword on the window frame, placing it against Chu Xiaoyang's neck. Hurry and take out the snow ginseng to save Ning, he shouted. Chu Xiaoyang did not even blink. He did not even look at Chu Xiaobai and did not care about the sword against his neck. Chapter 947. Chu Xiaoyang raised his brows at Mo Chuan and said with a gentle smile, all right, if you want the snow ginseng to save her life, that's fine. Kneel down and beg me. If you kneel down and beg me, I'll give it to you. He was grinning from ear to ear as he stared right at Mo Chuan's face. His eyes did not contain a single trace of a smile, rather it was like a cat playing with a mouse. Third brother. You're crazy. He is the emperor, the emperor. You actually want the emperor to kneel down to you? Chu Xiaobai was stunned. He looked at Chu Xiaoyang like he was looking at a stranger, not daring to believe that this was the third brother he was familiar with. He had already gone completely crazy. Mo Chuan knew that Chu Xiaoyang was not crazy, he was just too clear-headed and too smart. He knew how to grasp the opportunity. That's right, this was the best opportunity for Chu Xiaoyang to humiliate himself. He had thought that this moment would come, but he had no other choice. In order to save her, he could endure all the ridicule, insults, and humiliation. He heard Chu Xiaoyang continue to say with a cold smile, "What, you won't kneel down? That's right, you are the ruler of the kingdom, being the emperor for over 10 years, full of vigor. Every day, it is others kneeling to you, when have you, Chu Mo Chuan, ever kneeled to others? But the wheel of fortune has turned, today it is you, Chu Mo Chuan, begging me, not me, Chu Xiaoyang. Do you still remember how you forced me to do it? Now I want you to taste the humiliation of kneeling to others." Mo Chuan had already decided to kneel, but after hearing his words, he straightened his knees and his back became straight without bending. "Chu Xiaoyang, I know you want to take revenge and humiliate me, but I don't care. I only want to ask you one thing. If I kneel to you, you'll give me the snow ginseng, right? As a man, you have to do what you say." Chu Xiaobai anxiously shouted, "Emperor, you can't. How can you kneel to my third brother? You are the emperor." Mo Chuan turned a deaf ear and just looked at Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaoyang slightly narrowed his eyes and a cold glow of revenge flashed in his eyes. He said with a cold smile, "In the end, you just can't throw away your face as the emperor. You don't want to kneel, that's fine. Just wait for her to die in 24 hours. Ha ha, you've schemed to take her from me and you've married her, but so what? In the end, you won't be able to get her. She doesn't belong to you at all. Chu Mo Chuan, you can't believe it, this is heaven's punishment for you. This is punishment for stealing something that doesn't belong to you. You will see the girl you love lying in your arms, her whole body festering with the venom and dying. I don't want your throne, I don't want anything. I just want to see your heartbroken face. It must be very exciting, very good to see, haha, ha ha ha." Xiaobai's Chu. Chu Xiaobai's hand was violently trembling from his anger and he couldn't even hold his sword properly. A shallow wound was left on Chu Xiaoyang's neck. "CHS. If you don't take out the snow ginseng, I'll kill you," he shouted. Chu Xiaoyang coldly looked at him, not caring about his threat at all. His heart was already filled with the joy of revenge. Chu Xiaoyang coldly looked at him and did not care about his threat at all. His heart was already filled with the joy of revenge. What did it count for? He, Chu Xiaoyang, did not care about his life at all. He, Chu Xiaoyang, did not care about his life at all. Chapter 948. Chu Mo Chuan, I'll ask you one last time. Are you going to kneel or not? Chu Xiaoyang revealed a smile as he confidently looked at Mo Chuan. He hated him. The more he hated him, the more he wanted to see him beg for mercy under his claws. Mo Chuan's knuckles cracked and his eyes were filled with a deathly stillness. He knew that Chu Xiaoyang was venting the anger in his heart, but when he heard him curse her to die in such a vicious tone, he was so angry that he wanted to smash the other side's teeth. But he knew that Chu Xiaoyang was speaking the truth. If he couldn't obtain the snow ginseng, she would die and he would lose her forever. All right. I'll kneel down right now. Chu Xiaoyang, I hope you can do what you say. You can take out the snow ginseng and save her life. Mo Chuan's heart was filled with determination as he loudly said this. Emperor. Chu Xiaobai loudly shouted as the sword in his hand fell to the ground. His hands violently trembled and he couldn't help closing his eyes. He couldn't bear to see this scene. His chest was filled with anger. Seeing Chu Xiaoyang humiliating the emperor like this, He really wanted to stab Chu Xiaoyang's heart with his sword, but he knew that Chu Xiaoyang did not care about force or persuasion. He was not afraid of any threats, he was not even afraid of death. As long as he could torture his enemy, he would disregard everything. He hated himself for being powerless, unable to stop his third brother's crazy actions. Mo Chuan closed his eyes and then opened them again. He did not hesitate at all as he bent his knees and kneeled down in front of Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaobai heard the soft sound of his knees hitting the ground and his body violently trembled. He closed his eyes even tighter. He really did not want to see the emperor being humiliated like this by his third brother. Mo Chuan, did you never think that there would be a day where you would kneel in front of me, Chu Xiaoyang? Chu Xiaoyang's body was straight as he stood in front of Mo Chuan. His chin was raised high as he looked down at Mo Chuan. His chest was filled with an indescribable excitement and pleasure from his revenge. He had never been this happy or excited in his life. Say it, beg me, loudly beg me. He stared at Mo Chuan with an expressionless face as he coldly said. Only kneeling. Not enough, this was far from enough. He wanted to make his enemies suffer more pain so that he would not lower his head to anyone. Mo Chuan's face was pale without a trace of blood. His deep black eyes shined brightly. He was born proud and had never lowered his head to beg anyone. Even if his life was in danger, he would never lower his head to anyone. But in order for her to live, what did this humiliation and torture count for? Even if Chu Xiaoyang wanted his life, he would give it to him without any hesitation. Chu Xiaoyang, I beg you. I beg you to be merciful, please save her. He shouted. Hearing his words, Chu Xiaobai's tightly closed eyes couldn't help letting out tears. His entire body was trembling as his heart filled with hatred. He hated his third brother and hated himself. Chu Xiaoyang laughed into the sky again. After he finished laughing, he lowered his head and raised a finger with a smile. I Xiao Chuan and say, Young Chu, what conditions? Mo Chuan's pupils shrank and he tightly gritted his teeth. Chapter 949. No. I definitely won't agree. Mo Chuan firmly replied, Chu Xiaoyang, if you want the jade seal, I'll give it to you. If you want the throne, I'll give it to you. Even if you want my life, I'll give it to you without any hesitation. You can take everything I have, but only her, you can't. Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold laugh, but don't forget, you're the one begging me right now. If I don't save her, she will only have death. Hearing this, Chu Xiaobai couldn't hold it in anymore. With a put-on sound, he also kneeled down in front of Chu Xiaoyang and looked up at him with tears in his eyes. Third brother, I've never begged you for anything in my life, I'm only begging you for this one thing. Please save Ning her. The emperor has already given you the throne, isn't the thing you want the most the throne? You can't be too greedy. Chu Xiaoyang coldly cut him off, I'm greedy. The greedy one is clearly him, Chu Mo Chuan. He has already taken the throne from me, but he is still not satisfied. He has taken the woman I love the most from me, humiliated me, laughed at me, and looked down on me. Now I'm just taking back all the things he has taken from me. If we're talking about greed, is there anyone more greedy than Chu Mo Chuan in this world? He made Chu Xiaobai speechless. Chu Xiaobai knew that Chu Xiaoyang was speaking nonsense, but he couldn't find any words to refute him. Chu Mo Chuan, Chu Xiaoyang, keep my words. As long as you write the edict, I'll immediately take out the snow ginseng to save Ning Er's life. Relax, I won't go back on my words. No matter how heartless Chu Xiaoyan am, I won't leave my woman to die. Chu Xiaoyang looked at Mo Chuan with a playful smile on his face. He was confident that Mo Chuan would agree to his conditions. Because he had no other choice. But what he didn't expect was that Imo Chuan was kneeling in front of him. He had a firm expression as he shook his head and spat out a single word. No. Chu Xiaoyang's smile froze and he looked at him in disbelief. What are you saying? Don't you know the consequences of not agreeing? She will die. Don't you love Ning Er? Do you have the heart to watch her die? If you return her to me, you won't lose out at all. She was originally my woman, and I will save her. Even if you can't have her, you can still see her. Didn't you say that you knew how to love? Is this how you love her? At the end of the day, you're a selfish bastard. You don't love her at all, and you don't deserve to love her. Mo Chuan looked right into his eyes and said word for word, Chu Xiaoyang, the one who doesn't understand love is you. Even now, you still refuse to come to your senses. I can't agree to your conditions because I've always respected her wishes. I know that she would rather die than return to your side and become your exclusive slave. I will give her to you. You can take everything I have. I'm willing to use everything to exchange for the snow ginseng that can save my life, but only her, I can't. She's not a commodity or a bargaining chip. She's a person. Each of his words was as heavy as 1,000 caddies, powerful and resonating. Chu Xiaobai almost wanted to cheer for his words. He looked at Imo Chuan with eyes of worship and admiration. This was the emperor that he admired and admired. Third brother, he could never compare. Ning did not choose the wrong person. Chapter 950. Chu Xiaoyang giggled as he clapped twice. Ning Er really is a fool. It's a pity that your sweet words can fool her, but you can't fool me, Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Mo Chuan, you are simply selfish. You would rather let her die than give her to another man. What use is there in your flowery words? As long as I don't give you the snow ginseng, she will quickly become a dead person. Don't regret it at that time. He suddenly withdrew the smile on his face and coldly said, Since you don't agree to my conditions, then you can leave. I will not hand over the snow ginseng. I have hidden the snow ginseng in a very hidden place. Other than me, no one can find it. Don't think of getting a single word out of my mouth. Chu Mo Chuan, I don't care about your throne. I like seeing you in pain and seeing you suffer. I like seeing your loved ones die in front of you. If you want to kill me, that's fine, but if you want the snow ginseng, that's impossible. Chu Xiaobai looked at Chu Xiaoyang in a daze and said in a hoarse voice, Third brother, what is your heart made of? How could you say such cruel and heartless things? Can you bear to see Ning Er die? So, your love for her is fake. Ning is right, you don't love her at all. You just want to possess her and have her belong to you alone. You don't love her at all. Shut up. It's not up to you to interfere in my affairs. Love, what is love? Chu Xiaobai, how old are you? Do you understand love? Don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. You like her, you already liked her when she was still my princess. Is the word Ning Er something you can call? She even affectionately calls you Xiaobai. Humph, Chu Xiaobai, what kind of good thing are you? You are my blood-related little brother, but you seduced my sister-in-law behind my back. Do you even have the face to criticize me? Chu Xiaoyang snorted at him as he spoke with a cold smile. Chu Xiaobai's face instantly turned red and he angrily shouted, It's true that I like her, but I only have feelings for her, there is nothing between us. I have never seduced her before. You keep saying that she's my sister-in-law, but before you saw her face, did you ever think of her as your wife? Did you love her at that time? Did you wish for her to die earlier at that time? You treated her as a thorn in your side. You are not worthy to be her husband at all. Chu Xiaoyang coldly said, I don't want to waste words with you right now. Chu Mo Chuan, if you don't agree to my conditions, then immediately disappear from my sight. I hate seeing you kneel in front of me like a coward. Do you know what you look like right now? You are like a pitiful beggar kneeling on the ground, begging for my charity. You. He spoke in a harsh and sarcastic manner, using the sharpest words to hurt Mo Chuan. He wanted to humiliate the other side, he wanted to use all his strength to humiliate him. Chu, even he, Xiao, Yang, he, Chu, he, Chu, he. He was suddenly worried. Would the emperor take his third brother's life in a fit of rage? Mo Chuan stared at Chu Xiaoyang. His face was snow-white and his eyes were black, like a bottomless abyss. Chapter 951. Very good, I won't beg you anymore. Your conditions, I won't agree to them no matter what. After saying this, he turned around and jumped out of the window. Chu Mo Chuan, stop. Come back. Chu Xiaoyang never thought that he would leave like this. He rushed to the window in a rush and shouted out in a sharp voice. I haven't finished speaking yet. I can change my conditions, I will change my conditions. Mo Chuan's footsteps stopped and he turned around. His red wedding robes fluttered in the wind, making his face look very pale. What conditions? Although he knew that Chu Xiaoyang would not give up this easily, he still had a trace of hope. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes turned and he thought about it. I don't want you to marry her to me, she is still your Chu Mo Chuan's Empress. But I want her to accompany me for one night, I want your wedding night. You can agree to this condition. She won't know who I am and I won't tell her who I am. As long as the light is blown out, she won't see anything and won't know anything. Chu Xiaoyang. You're too shameless. You can even say such despicable, shameless, disgusting words. You're not a man at all. Chu Xiaobai's face turned blood red and he began to curse at Chu Xiaoyang again. Chu Xiaoyang gave an uncaring smile and said, I have a temper. If I want something, I will spare no effort to obtain it. Even if I can't obtain her heart, I will obtain her body. Chu Mo Chuan, as long as you let her accompany me for one night, I promise you that I won't bother her in the future. I just want her for one night, this condition shouldn't be too much, right? Pa. What answered him was Mo Chuan's hot slap to his face. This slap was very heavy. Chu Xiaoyang felt his cheeks heat up and a bloody taste came out of his mouth. Chu Mo Chuan, you dare hit me. Based on what? Do you know that her life is in my hands? If I don't save her, she will die. Chu Xiaoyang went crazy with rage. His eyes turned red like a wild beast as he roared at Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan did not say a single word. After hitting Chu Xiaoyang, he looked at Chu Xiaoyang with an extremely disdainful gaze before turning around and leaving without looking back. Chu Mo Chuan, come back. Don't you want the snow ginseng to save her life? Come back and beg me. Kneel down and kowtow to me and I will give it to you. Come back. Mo Chuan's disdainful gaze instantly defeated Chu Xiao. Chu Xiao Mo Chuan's heart. He looked at the empty window in disbelief. Mo Chuan's red figure had already disappeared. He go like this. He go. Wasn't he bent on saving her life? Didn't he give up everything to save her? Say go. He hadn't even finished enjoying the thrill of victory when he was suddenly slapped in the face by the other party. The anger in his chest hadn't been vented yet. How could he just leave like that? Chu Mo Chuan, I'm telling you, if I don't save her, she can only die. Do you hear me? Scram back here for father. Chu Xiaoyang angrily cursed out. His eyes were filled with the look of disdain Mo Chuan gave him before he left. It was like he was looking at a pile of trash, a pile of dog shit. Chapter 952. Chu Xiaobai stood up from the ground without saying a word. He did not care about Chu Xiaoyang, who was screaming out the window like a madman. He picked up the jade seal that Chu Xiaoyang and Nemo Chuan had ignored and put it into his chest. He then picked up the imperial edict with the jade seal and tore it into pieces. Then he waved his hand at Chu Xiaoyang and the pieces of paper fell down like snowflakes, falling onto Chu Xiaoyang's head, body, and shoulders. Chu Xiaoyang suddenly turned around from the window and stared at Chu Xiaobai with dark eyes. "What are you doing? You! What did you just tear? Where's the edict? Where's my abdication edict? Chu Xiaobai, you actually tore my abdication edict. You! I'll kill you." He picked up a piece of paper from his shoulder and after looking at it, his eyes turned red. With a wild roar, he charged at Chu Xiaobai. Chu Xiaobai's figure flashed and he dodged this wild tiger-like attack. He turned his palm and hit Chu Xiaoyang's back, causing Chu Xiaoyang to fall to the ground. Chu Xiaoyang's martial arts were not below Chu Xiaobai's, but his mind was in chaos. That move revealed an opening and he was easily knocked down by Chu Xiaobai. But Chu Xiaobai had only used less than 10% of his strength, so Chu Xiaoyang was not injured at all. He stood up from the ground and with a wave of his right hand, a cold glowing long sword appeared in his hand. "Chu Xiaobai, you forced me to do this, you're seeking death yourself." He stabbed at Chu Xiaobai's chest. With a "chi" sound, the long sword pierced through his chest. It went from Chu Xiaobai's chest to his back and blood immediately dyed his snow-white clothes red. Chu Xiaobai's body slightly swayed, but he still did not fall. He did not look at the sword piercing his body. His eyes filled with tears as he looked at Chu Xiaoyang. Chu Xiaoyang was stunned as he looked at Chu Xiaobai's clothes dyed red. He saw his handsome face turn pale and his body waver. His hand holding the sword hilt began to violently tremble. Why didn't you dodge? Why? I didn't do it on purpose. Xiaobai, you clearly could have dodged this sword, why didn't you dodge it? Chu Xiaoyang forcefully pulled out his sword and blood sprayed out from Chu Xiaobai's chest. That warm blood splashed onto Chu Xiaoyang's face and it was like a burning flame was burning him. When the sword was pulled out, Chu Xiaobai could no longer stand. His body swayed and he fell down. Chu Xiaoyang charged over and hugged him. His fingers moved like lightning as he quickly poked several acupuncture points on Chu Xiaobai's chest to help him stop the bleeding. Then he quickly took out some medicine from his chest. People who practiced martial arts like them would always carry Jinchuang ointment with them. Xiao medicine. He tore the front of his clothes into a mess and found that his chest was empty. Only then did he realize that he was wearing luxurious clothes to attend a banquet in the palace. How could he have put any kind of wound medicine in it? Xiao, he came. Father's foo. Chu Xiaoyang raised his voice and roared, but it was silent outside and there was not a single person. He immediately understood that the Fu family's secret guards must have been silently taken care of by Mo Chuan. He gritted his teeth in hatred. Chu Mo Chuan, if Xiaobai dies, I'll take your life with him. Chapter 953. Chu Xiaoyang stumbled out of the peach blossom little house. His footsteps were weak and his mind was in a mess, forgetting to use his qigong. Only when the cool night wind blew on his burning cheeks did his mind clear up a bit. There were 2 thunderbolts rumbling in his mind, and he was almost unable to think. Ning had been poisoned and was about to die. Xiaobai had been injured by a sword and was about to die. One was his most beloved girl and the other was his closest brother. Why did the people closest to him have to leave him? Why? He really wanted to shout into the sky, he really wanted to roar out, and he really wanted to curse out loud. But he couldn't do anything right now. He had to quickly save Xiao Bai's life. No matter what, he couldn't let his hands be stained with his little brother's blood, he couldn't. He charged into the underground secret room in a single breath and placed the unused snow ginseng there. Although the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng was a rare treasure, he did not treat it as a treasure. He kept it because when he saw it, he couldn't help thinking of her. The 1,000-year-old snow ginseng had the miraculous effect of curing all kinds of poisons. With it, Chu Xiaobai could be saved. Chu Xiaoyang knew how powerful his sword was. The sword had pierced through Chu Xiaobai's lungs, and although it did not pierce through his heart, it had caused him to lose a large amount of blood, making it very dangerous. But there was only half a snow ginseng. If he saved Xiaobai, he couldn't save her. Who did he have to save? Chu Xiaoyang held the snow ginseng and fell into a painful struggle. In front of Mo Chuan, he spoke with deep hatred. Even when Mo Chuan was kneeling in front of him, he did not let go. But if he asked himself honestly, could he really watch her die and not save her? Was he really like what Chu Xiaobai said, wishing for her to die? He hated her. In front of the West Chu and East Qin countries' thousands of eyes, she had written a divorce letter to divorce him, making him lose all face. He hated her. When she boarded Na Mu Kuo's carriage and did not look back, he hated her. When he took out his heart and gave it to her, but she did not even look back, he hated her. When she wore a red veil and married another man, becoming someone else's bride, he hated her even more. But the deeper the hate, the deeper the love. When he heard that she was going to die, his heart trembled. In this world, only he could save her. In his hand was the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng that saved her life. He thought that this was the best gift the heavens had given him. After going around in circles, she could finally return to his side. The snow ginseng in his hands had become the best leverage he could use to blackmail Ma Bai. It was his most powerful weapon. But Chu Xiaoyang never would have dreamed that this weapon would lose its effectiveness. Mo Chuan actually did not accept his conditions. He would rather let her die than let Chu Xiaoyang have her. Even if it was just for a short night, he was not willing. Since it was like this, why would Chu Xiao Ling medicine to save her? Save her, and then watch her become someone else's bride with his own eyes. Mo Bai Chuan Xiao Bai Ling Su Shi Chuan. Xiao Chen. King under man. He, Chu Xiaoyang, would not be a fool like this. Not to mention that Chu Xiaobai was his blood-related little brother. Blood was thicker than water, how could he watch Chu Xiaobai die and not save him? Chu Xiaoyang quickly made his decision. He wanted to save Chu Xiaobai. Chapter 954. Chu Xiaoyang held a bowl of steaming hot soup as he ran into the peach blossom little house. Chu Xiaobai was still lying on the bed like when he left, not moving at all. His face was pale without a trace of blood and his long and thick eyelashes were hanging down. The white clothes on his chest were already dyed red with blood. He was filled with death energy, without any signs of life. Chu Xiaoyang was shocked. He put down the bowl of medicine and quickly felt his pulse. He found that it was still slightly beating and he let out a sigh of relief. As long as he was still alive, this snow ginseng soup would be able to cure his injury. Xiaobai, are you still awake? Can you hear me? I am your third brother, your third brother. Chu Xiaoyang took out the best ointment in the palace and carefully applied it to Chu Xiaobai's wound. The wound was very deep and it shocked him. Thinking that he was the one who made this fatal wound, his nose filled with regret and he almost began to cry. If anyone else dared to hurt Chu Xiaobai like this, he would be the first to not forgive them. But the person who had made this kind of terrifying wound on his little brother was himself. He applied the ointment to Chu Xiaobai while large drops of tears flowed down. Xiaobai, you're not allowed to die. No matter what, you can't die. I only have you as my little brother in this world, if even you leave me. His voice was choked. Chu Xiaobai slightly opened his eyes and saw the tears in Chu Xiaoyang's eyes. He was shocked and wanted to raise his hand to wipe the tears, but his hand only slightly raised before falling down powerlessly. Although that sword strike was not fatal, it had injured his lungs, causing him to lose a lot of blood. His body felt weak without any strength left. He said in a soft voice, "Third brother, I'm fine. I'm not in pain, it's just a small wound, you don't need to be this sad. My body has always been good, how could I die from a small wound like this? You're looking down on this little brother too much." Cool. He pretended to be relaxed and made a joke, but he didn't know that he couldn't take a breath and immediately started coughing violently. Strings of bloody foam came out of his mouth and flowed down the corner of his mouth. "Xiaobai, you're not allowed to speak, you're not allowed to say a single word." Chu Xiaoyang quickly wiped the blood from his lips, but there was more and more. "You won't die. You are my blood brother. In this world, no one can compare to you in my heart. I have already boiled the remaining half of the snow ginseng into soup. As long as you drink it, your life will be saved. Come, sit up, I will feed you." Chu Xiaoyang held Chu Xiaobai's shoulder and let him lean against the bed. Then he reached out to grab the bowl of soup. "No, third brother, I won't drink. This snow ginseng soup is the item to save Ninger's life. I can't spoil it." Chu Xiaobai's eyes went wide in shock. He could smell the thick ginseng smell in the soup, so he tightly closed his mouth. "How can that woman's life be compared to yours? Not to mention that she would rather die than be my woman. Even if she was really my woman, I would still choose to save you and not her. Brothers are like my hands and feet, my wife is like my clothes, I definitely won't treat my hands lightly and clothes lightly. Come, Xiaobai, drink while it's hot." Chu Xiaoyang had an expressionless face as he brought the bowl of soup to Chu Xiaobai's lips. Chu Xiaobai forcefully shook his head. His lips were tightly closed and his expression was filled with stubbornness. Chapter 955. Chu Xiaoyang seemed like he was getting impatient. He raised his hand and pinched Chu Xiaobai's nose, forcing him to open his mouth. Then he poured the soup into his mouth. At this moment, he suddenly felt the donzhong acupuncture point on his chest go numb and he couldn't move at all. His eyes opened wide as he stared at Chu Xiaobai who was right in front of him. "I'm sorry, third brother. This little brother has lied to you, but this little brother can't let Ning or die like this." Chu Xiaobai's index finger pointed at Chu Xiaoyang's chest and he slowly withdrew his hand. That acupuncture point just now had used all the internal energy in his body. Although he had injured himself, the injury he received from that sword strike was not fake. He stood up shakily from the bed, feeling weak and powerless. Because of the loss of blood, his vision turned black, as if he could fall at any time. He felt extremely tired, and all he wanted to do was close his eyes and have a good sleep. He didn't care about anything else and just slept for a while. But he knew that once he closed his eyes, he would never wake up again. Chu Xiaobai raised his hand and forcefully pressed against the wound on his chest. The intense pain made his body twitch, but because of this pain, it drove away his tiredness. He took a deep breath and took the soup bowl from Chu Xiaoyang's hand, carefully not spilling a single drop. This soup bowl contained the elixir that could save her life. He had to quickly send it into the palace to feed it to her. Chu Xiaobai looked up and met Chu Xiaoyang's gaze. That gaze was cold, sharp, and did not contain a single trace of emotion. It was completely different from the worried gaze from before. His heart filled with pain. Third brother, this little brother has let you down. When this little brother saves Ning, this little brother will apologize to you. At that time, if you want to hit or punish me, this little brother will not have a single word of complaint. Third brother, don't blame me. You can bear not saving Ning, but I can't. Chu Xiaobai closed his eyes. He knew that by doing this, he had already created a deep gap between them. His third brother. Perhaps he would never forgive him in this lifetime, but he couldn't not do this. He could not watch someone die. He took off his blood-soaked white robe, tore off a piece of the hem, and wrapped it around the wound on his chest, then tied a knot. Then he found one of Chu Xiaoyang's robes in the room and put it on, covering the wound on his chest. Other than his face being a bit pale, there wasn't anything abnormal about him. He carefully held the soup bowl and without looking back, he walked out. In the Guan Osprey Palace, Yiting Xian held the gold medal left behind by Mo Chuan as he stood at the door. Looking at the deep night, his heart was as dark as the night. He had been thinking about who the killer was and what motive they had, but he couldn't find a single clue. In the bedroom, Dr. Chen Xiao Ning's heart. He had already used all the methods he could think of to force the poison out of her body, but none of them worked. This was because snake venom was different from other poisons. After it entered the bloodstream, it could quickly paralyze a person's nervous system. If Qin Ning hadn't taken a bowl of snow ginseng soup, she would have already died from the snake venom. Although his medical skills were superb, it was difficult for him to save a dying person. Chapter 956. Emperor, you're back. Did you get the 1,000-year snow? Yiting Xian was in a daze when his eyes suddenly blurred. A red figure floated down from the roof and looking over, it was Mo Chuan. When he saw Mo Chuan's face, he knew the result. He instantly swallowed the second half of his words. Mo Chuan's face was as calm as water. His eyes were like a deep pool, not showing any emotions at all. But the more it was like this, the more worried Yiting Xian was. Ting Xian, come in. Mo Chuan walked into the bedroom with large steps and spoke in a deep voice. Yiting Xian's body turned cold. He was a foreign minister and couldn't enter the back palace without the emperor's orders, so he had been guarding the door without taking a single step in. The emperor had actually called him in at this time. His heart filled with a bad feeling. Ting Xian, help this one draft an edict. Mo Chuan sat in front of the bed. He didn't look up at Yiting Xian and his eyes were deeply looking at Qin Ning's face. The black qi on her face seemed to be a bit thicker, but there wasn't a trace of sadness on her face, there was only calmness. Edict. Yiting Xian was a bit stunned. What edict? A posthumous edict. Mo Chuan softly said. Yiting Xian and Dr. Zhang were both shocked. Dr. Zhang almost fell off the stool. He suspected that he had heard wrong because he was deaf. Emperor. Yiting Xian clearly heard it. He fell to the ground with a plop as his nose turned sour and his eyes filled with tears. You mustn't. You mustn't. Dr. Zhang trembled as he kneeled on the ground. Emperor, you mustn't have this kind of thought, it's all because this old minister's medical skills are shallow. This old minister will immediately look through the medical books and will definitely think of a way to save the Empress' life. He kowtowed to Mo Chuan before standing up and staggering out of the bedroom. Mo Chuan held Qin Ning's hand. Her fingers were stiff and cold, but he was still unwilling to let go. Chu Xiaoyang's words filled with hatred rang in his ears. Mo Chuan, you're too greedy. You took away my throne, and then you took away my most beloved woman. This is God's punishment for you, your retribution. This sentence was like a knife stabbing deep into his heart, causing him to feel pain. He stared at her pale face. She was so still that she looked like she was asleep. She would probably never wake up again. If this was really God's punishment for him, then why didn't it fall on him? Why did he let her go? He was willing to use his life to exchange for hers. He felt a sharp pain in his chest. Suddenly, he opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood on the golden brick floor. It looked like a blood-colored flower had bloomed. Emperor! Yiting Xian gave a shocked cry, knowing that Imo Chuan's blood was caused by his anger. He must have been filled with despair, but he suppressed it and didn't reveal it. Imo Chuan slowly raised his head. He looked at the sky outside the hall and slowly spoke. Ting Xian, are you saying that this Xin is very greedy? Is it because I want too much that the heavens are punishing me like this, taking away the person I love the most from me? Don't you think so? Chapter 957. Mo Chuan silently looked away and forcefully gritted his teeth. That's right, he couldn't fall into despair. There was still 20 hours of time, perhaps a miracle would happen in this period of time. His Ning Er was smart and kind, she had never harmed a single person before. She had just done a great favor to the West Chu citizens, the heavens would not take her life like this, it would be too unfair to her. Ting Xian, you're right, this one shouldn't fall into despair. This one believes that Ning Er will be blessed by the heavens, she will definitely recover. Mo Chuan helped her smooth out her hair and caressed her smooth as jade cheeks. He spoke in a soft voice that was so low that only he could hear. If the heavens are truly jealous of you and want to take you away, then I will accompany you, I definitely won't let you go alone. Without you, what meaning is there for me to stay in this world? Ning Er, I want to hear you speak and see you smile. Even if you want to tease me or make fun of me, you can do whatever you want. We haven't finished our wedding night, so don't think you can hide like this. I won't let you go, even if you run to the ends of the earth, I will definitely chase you and take back the debt you owe me. His lips curled into a faint smile. Thinking back to the time he spent with her, his heart was filled with warmth. At this moment, he didn't feel sad or sad. Regardless of whether it was heaven on earth, heaven or hell, he had already decided to be with her, never to be separated. If she was in heaven, he would be in heaven. If she went to hell, he would go to hell with her. If she stopped breathing, he would not live in this world for another moment. Although Yiting Xian couldn't hear what Mo Chuan was saying, seeing the smile on his face, his heart filled with a chill. The emperor could still smile at this time, this meant that the emperor had not given up on dying yet. If the empress really was gone, the emperor would definitely follow her. No, he definitely couldn't do this. He had to think of a way to stop the emperor's crazy thoughts. But how could he stop it? Yiting Xian's clear mind suddenly turned into a pot of porridge. The more anxious he was, the more he couldn't think of a way. That's right, Empress Dowager Zhou. The emperor was the most filial to his mother. Other than the empress, the one he listened to the most was the Empress Dowager. If the Empress Dowager came, she would definitely be able to dispel the emperor's thoughts of suicide. Yiting Xian's eyes lit up. He wanted to immediately think of a way to inform Empress Dowager Zhou, but thinking about it, the Empress Dowager Zhou was still in the dark. She did not know that the Empress was married to the Emperor. If she knew, before the Empress died, the Empress Dowager Ting Xian would send out a decree and directly bestow her to death. This was not right. This was absolutely not right. Yiting Xian's heart felt like it was doused with a ladle of hot oil, burning like a fire. Before he could think of a way, he suddenly heard a loud dong sound coming from the door of the hall. Mo Chuan clearly heard it, but he didn't care about it at all. He didn't care about anything right now and he didn't care at all. Yiting Xian looked up and was instantly shocked. He saw Chu Xiaobai hit a door and he shook his head, almost falling over. Xiao! How did you bump into the door? Don't tell me you didn't wear your eyes. Chapter 958. Chu Xiaobai calmed himself down. There was a large bump on his forehead and it was very painful, but he didn't feel it at all. It wasn't easy for him to make it here. His consciousness had already become hazy, and all he could think about was that he had to bring the medicine to her side without spilling a single drop. However, he didn't notice that his wound had already opened up, and blood was still gushing out, soaking through the cloth and dripping down the road. Husband-yi, it's good that you're here. Quickly give this medicine to her, quickly. He carefully handed the bowl of medicine to Yiting Xian like he was holding a rare treasure. Yiting Xian couldn't help asking, what medicine is this? Soup made from 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. Chu Xiaobai said in a soft voice. He felt like he was floating and he didn't have any strength left in his body. He just wanted to lie down and close his eyes, never opening them again. If it weren't for that inexplicable spiritual force supporting him, he would have collapsed halfway. His heart relaxed at this time and he slid down to the ground. Xiaobai, what's wrong? Yiting Xian was shocked. He held the bowl of medicine in one hand and supported Chu Xiaobai with the other, but he was a weak scholar and didn't have enough strength. He was afraid of spilling the soup, so he could only watch Chu Xiaobai slide down his arm and lie down on the ground. Husband-yi, I'm fine, I'm just too tired. I'll be fine after resting for a bit. You. Quickly give the ginseng soup to Ning, and have the emperor give it to her. Chu Xiaobai used all the strength in his body to reveal a faint smile on his face. He could only do this much for her. He was just too tired right now and wanted to have a good sleep. He slowly closed his eyes and his handsome face revealed a gratified smile. Yiting Xian did not doubt him. When he heard that the soup in his hand was 1,000-year-old snow ginseng soup, he was filled with excitement. He saw Chu Xiaobai close his eyes and thought that he had fallen asleep from exhaustion, so he did not disturb him. Your Majesty, the Empress can be saved. This is the snow ginseng soup sent by His Highness King Jing'an, soup made from 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. As long as she drinks this, the Empress can be saved. He carefully brought the bowl of medicine to the bed, not spilling a single drop. The bowl of medicine was warm to the touch and it seemed like Chu Xiaobai had been holding it the entire way here, using his body to warm it up. Mo Chuan's mind was completely focused on Qin Ning, not caring about anything else. He didn't even feel Chu Xiaobai's arrival. It wasn't until Yiting Xian excitedly shouted beside him with the ginseng soup did he come back to his senses, frowning as he looked at Yiting Xian. What did you just say, snow ginseng soup? That's right, Emperor, look, Xiaobai just sent this over. He said it's a soup made from 1,000-year-old snow ginseng and it's still warm. Quickly feed it to the Empress. Ting Xian respectfully gave the bowl of medicine to Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan looked at the bowl of soup in disbelief. He reached out to take it and smelled the fragrance of ginseng. The soup was a thick snow-white color, it really was 1,000-year-old snow ginseng soup. Only he had never seen this before, so he didn't dare believe it. But when he heard that it was sent by Chu Xiaobai, all his doubts were dispelled. Chapter 959. Mo Chuan was filled with excitement. Where's Xiaobai? His eyes swept over and he saw Chu Xiaobai lying at the door. He was shocked. What happened to him? He's too tired, he said he wanted to rest. He must be tired from running all the way here. Emperor, should we test this ginseng soup for poison before giving it to the Empress? Yiting Xian asked in a soft voice. According to the rules of the palace, all the food given to the Emperor and Empress had to be tested for poison with silver needles. Although he believed that the things Chu Xiaobai brought wouldn't be poisoned, he still asked this question. No need, this one believes in Xiaobai. Mo Chuan shook his head without even thinking. He looked at Chu Xiaobai lying at the door, and without knowing why, his heart suddenly felt that something was wrong. With Chu Xiaobai's martial arts, how could he be so tired that he was lying on the ground without moving? He put down the bowl of medicine and stood up. He walked over to Chu Xiaobai's side and looked down at him. Chu Xiaobai had his eyes closed and was silently lying on the ground, like he was asleep. He was wearing a deep purple robe that contrasted with his snow-white face. It was so white that there wasn't a trace of blood on it. This robe clearly belonged to Chu Xiaoyang. Mo Chuan's brows jumped up. Xiaobai, he said in a soft voice. Chu Xiaobai did not react at all. He just silently laid there with a pale face and dark eyes closed. His long eyelashes covered his eyes, not moving at all. Mo Chuan once again felt that this was bad. With Chu Xiaobai's internal energy, it was impossible for him not to hear him. Even if he was asleep, he would immediately wake up from his sleep. Xiaobai, he loudly shouted. Chu Xiaobai still did not move at all. Mo Chuan quickly touched his chest and found that his heart was still beating. However, his hand was wet and he could smell the scent of blood. He pulled open Chu Xiaobai's clothes and saw the deep wound on his chest that was leaking blood. He couldn't help taking in a cold breath. Xiaobai. Yiting Xian saw it and instantly cried out, I'll immediately call Dr. Zhang, I'll immediately go. He lost his usual composure and stumbled out of the room. Mo Chuan was much calmer than Yiting Xian. He was very experienced in dealing with knife and sword wounds. He could see that Chu Xiaobai's wound had already been applied with medicine and it had been simply bandaged. If he had just quietly laid there, his wound would not have bled again. He must have been injured and rushed into the palace to give her life-saving medicine without caring about his own injuries. Not long ago, Chu Xiaobai was still fine, so how could he suddenly suffer such a heavy wound? Where did he get the snow ginseng soup from? Mo Chuan thought about it and understood most of it. His eyes couldn't help turning hot. Xiaobai, you're really stupid. In order to save Ning, you don't even want your life. Xiao Xiaoyang, Xiao Qin, Chu, Xiaoyang said. Xiao is Yang. Now he did not care about scolding Chu Xiaoyang, he had to save Chu Xiaobai's life. He knew that Chu Xiaobai was not asleep, but had fainted. If he didn't save him in time, he might not wake up again. But there was only one bowl of life-saving snow ginseng soup. If he saved Xiaobai, he couldn't save Ning. What should he choose? Save Xiaobai or save Ning? Chapter 960. Emperor, Dr. Zhang is here. When Mo Chuan found it hard to make a decision, Yiting Xian pulled the panting Dr. Zhang in. Seeing Dr. Zhang, Mo Chuan's eyes lit up and he tightly grabbed Dr. Zhang's hand like he was grasping a life-saving straw. Quickly save Xiaobai, quickly save him. Dr. Zhang was still holding a medical book in his hand, but he didn't have time to put it down before he was pulled over by Yiting Xian. When he saw the wound on Chu Xiaobai's chest, he was also shocked. Emperor, you can be assured. As long as King Jing'an still has a breath, this old minister will definitely save him. He opened the medical box and took out a knife, scissors, pliers, needles, and thread. He first cleaned Chu Xiaobai's sword wound and then applied some ointment. Dr. Zhang's ointment was naturally very good. Not long after it was applied, the blood stopped flowing. His hands did not stop as he placed a thread through the needle and began to sew Chu Xiaobai's wound up. Although he was old, his hands were very steady. The needle flew and the thread was very skilled. In just a short while, he had already sewn up the bone-deep wound. Dr. Zhang, King Jing'an, will he come back to life? Yiting Xian had never seen this kind of incredible treatment method before and his eyes almost popped out. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva before he could speak. Dr. Zhang didn't even raise his head as he said, "Take out the triangular bottle with the blue dot in the medicine box." Yiting Xian did not dare hesitate. He found a triangular medicine bottle from the medical box and gave it to Dr. Zhang. "Bring a bowl of water." Yiting Xian poured another bowl of water. Dr. Zhang directly opened Chu Xiaobai's mouth and poured all the red pills in the bottle into his mouth. Then he poured a large bowl of water into his mouth. Chu Xiaobai was already unconscious and half the bowl of water had spilled out. Another bowl. Dr. Zhang poured 3 bowls of water before Chu Xiaobai swallowed all the pills in his mouth. He finally let out a sigh of relief and wiped the sweat off his forehead before saying, "He's fine now, but he has lost a lot of blood and his wound has just been sewn up, so he can't move or it will rupture the wound." Yiting Xian couldn't help asking, "Dr. Zhang, your meaning is, King Jing'an, he's fine?" Dr. Zhang rolled his eyes at him and snappily said, "What, husband?" He looks down on this old man's medical skills. Ting Xian doesn't dare. Yiting Xian knew that although Dr. Zhang's medical skills were high, he had a strange temper, so he didn't dare offend him. Seeing the deep sword wound on Chu Xiaobai's chest and seeing him bleeding so much, Yiting Xian's intuition told him that he couldn't be saved. He never thought that Dr. Zhang's medical skills would be as magical as the legend said. He couldn't help clicking his tongue in surprise. "Many thanks, Dr. Zhang, you've worked hard. Xiaobai's life was saved by you, to Mo Zhang. Xian's to him too, to say to King to be to him. His Highness King Jing'an only has an external wound, he only needs to stop the bleeding and be nursed back to health. This can't be considered any skill. This old minister is incompetent and my medical skills are shallow, I cannot save the Empress." Dr. Zhang had a look of shame as he gave a sigh. Yiting Xian said with a face filled with joy, "Dr. Zhang, King Jing'an has just sent over the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng soup. Didn't you say that this snow ginseng soup had the effect of reviving the dead?" "Really? Where is the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng soup?" Chapter 961. It's over there. Yiting Xian pointed at the bowl of medicine on the table. Dr. Zhang was surprised and happy. He quickly walked in front of the table and picked up the bowl of medicine, carefully looking over it. He had only heard of the rumored 1,000-year-old snow ginseng, but he had never seen it before. His heart was filled with excitement and his wrist began to slightly tremble. "Dr. Zhang, you have to be careful. This is a life-saving elixir, if you spill a drop." Yiting Xian quickly reminded him. Dr. Zhang nodded. Of course he knew how precious this medicine was. He looked at the medicine soup which was white in color and had a very thick smell of ginseng. Strange, there seems to be something wrong with this ginseng soup. He suddenly knit his brows. He could smell that under this thick smell of ginseng, there seemed to be a faint fishy smell, but it was covered by the smell of ginseng. What's wrong? Xiaobai personally brought this over, this one believes that there is no problem with this ginseng soup. Mo Chuan looked down at the unconscious Chu Xiaobai and his heart filled with excitement. Chu Xiaobai risked his life to bring this medicine, how could it be fake? Dr. Zhang did not reply. His right hand trembled and a bit of the ginseng soup was poured out. "Dr. Zhang, what are you doing?" Yiting Xian was shocked as he came forward to take the bowl of medicine in his hand. With its chi sound, the drop of ginseng soup fell onto the hard golden brick floor, letting out a soft sound. Mo Chuan and Yiting Xian looked over at the same time and saw a small hole in the ground corroded by the ginseng soup. The two of them were instantly shocked. "Emperor, this ginseng soup is poisonous. Yiting Xian's face was filled with shock as his voice trembled. Mo Chuan's face changed. He stared at the ginseng soup with eyes filled with disbelief. The ginseng soup that Chu Xiaobai brought actually had a bone-piercing poison. How was this possible? Test the poison. Mo Chuan said in a deep voice. Dr. Zhang nodded and placed the bowl of medicine on the table. He took out a long brocade box from the medicine box and opened it. There were several silver needles that the royal family used to test for poison. He picked up a silver needle and placed it into the ginseng soup. In an instant, the shining silver needle turned black like ink. It really is poisonous. Yiting Xian's voice began to tremble. If it wasn't for Dr. Zhang discovering the poison in the ginseng soup, perhaps the emperor would have already fed it to the empress. But how could this ginseng soup be poisonous? Emperor, this poison wasn't done by Ting Xian. It has nothing to do with me. He remembered that the ginseng soup was given to Mo Chuan by him, so the emperor would definitely suspect him. This one knows that it has nothing to do with you. This poison. It was already in the soup. Mo Chuan's eyes flashed with a cold glow, but the chill in his heart became even stronger. Xiao Chu Xiao Yang, your heart. You actually used Xiaobai to send a bowl of poisonous ginseng soup over. If it wasn't for Dr. Zhang discovering the poison in the ginseng soup, Ning would have died and Chu Xiaobai would have been wronged. This was a one-stone two-birds plan. This was a one-stone. Chu Xiao Yang. Mo Chuan said word for word, spitting out these 3 words through gritted teeth. Yiting Xian's body trembled as he muttered in disbelief, Emperor, your meaning is that this poison was planted by Chu Xiaoyang. How he is. Even deceiving his own little brother and using him. Is he still a human? As if replying to his words, there was a clear and melodious voice that came from outside the hole. Chapter 962. As his voice fell, Chu Xiaoyang was wearing a purple robe as he walked in from the door in high spirits. Seeing the 3 people in the room glaring at him, he raised his brows and gave a few sigh. It's a pity. If it wasn't for old man Zhang ruining this matter, there would be 3 more dead people in this room. His eyes fell onto the unconscious Chu Xiaobai at his feet. His lips slightly curled as he revealed a mocking smile. Xiaobai, Xiaobai, you are my blood-related little brother, but you betrayed me for a woman and lied to me. Do you think I, Chu Xiaoyang, am the same fool that you can fool around with? You're looking down on me too much. You actually wanted to hurt yourself for her. You wanted to trick me into giving you the antidote, but you never thought that the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. You never would have dreamed that the ginseng soup you brought to the palace with your blood was poisonous, right? Sigh, it's really a pity that such a good plan of mine was seen through. His words almost made Yiting Xian's lungs explode. Chu Xiaoyang, are you even human? You even want to use your own blood-related little brother, do you know that he almost died? He pointed at Chu Xiaoyang and gritted his teeth. If he really died, it was his own choice, it has nothing to do with me. Chu Xiaoyang looked up with an expressionless face and coldly said, he could have dodged that sword, but he didn't. I wanted to save him, but he wanted to seek his own death, bringing the life-saving medicine into the palace. Chu Xiaoyang did not wrong him, it was he who wronged me. Life-saving medicine. This medicine clearly has poison in it. Yiting Xian shouted. That's right, I did put poison in the medicine, but so what? I just wanted to test him, but he disappointed me too much. He really was lying to me, so why would I care about his life? Husband Yi, you're saying I'm not human, but do you know that I was forced to this step by them? Mo Chuan coldly said, Chu Xiaoyang, this one doesn't want to kill you right now, but if you don't leave, don't blame this one for not considering you're the previous emperor's son. Chu Xiaoyang casually raised his brows and said with a smile, since I dared to enter the palace, naturally I did not plan on leaving alive. I just wanted to see her and heard you say that she was about to die. I already said that I wanted to personally see her die in your arms. I wanted to see your painful, heartbroken, and desperate appearance. Ze, Emperor, you don't seem that sad. Could it be that you plan on dying with her? Mo Chuan fiercely gritted his teeth and the veins on his forehead popped out. He really wanted to slap Chu Xiaoyang's despicable smiling face. That's right, Your Majesty, it's a joyous occasion for you and Ning. This king seems to have forgotten to give you a gift. No matter what, she was once this king's princess, so how could I be so stingy and not even give her a gift? This thing, I'll give it to you. He raised his hand and something flew at Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan was filled with rage. How could he still accept his gift? He raised his right palm and sent out a palm wind, knocking the item to the ground. He raised his hand and an item flew at Mo Chuan. The thing wrapped in the red silk scattered. Yiting Xian looked over and immediately cried out in surprise. 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. Chapter 963. Chu Xiaoyang, what trick are you playing? Mo Chuan looked up and stared at Chu Xiaoyang. Yiting Xian picked up the half-snow ginseng and gave it to Dr. Zhang. Dr. Zhang, quickly take a look. Is this snow ginseng real or fake? Is it poisonous or not? He asked in a somewhat worried voice. Dr. Zhang sniffed the snow ginseng and carefully looked at it for a while before saying, this is a true 1,000-year-old snow ginseng, there is no poison at all. Look at this snow ginseng, it is completely white without any impurities. If it was poisoned, you would be able to see it with a single glance. He excitedly looked at Mo Chuan, Emperor, with this 1,000-year-old snow ginseng, the Empress will definitely come back to life. This old minister will now make medicine for the Empress. Without waiting for Mo Chuan to speak, he quickly walked out of the hall with the snow ginseng and went to the side hall to make medicine. Emperor, I've given you such a large gift, are you still not satisfied? Isn't that what you've always wanted? Chu Xiaoyang calmly looked at Mo Chuan's eyes and his lips curled into a faint smile. Mo Chuan did not have a smile on his face at all. He looked at Chu Xiaoyang and suddenly said, what do you want? The throne. That's fine. When she wakes up, I'll immediately abdicate to you. Then I'll take her away from West Chu and never take a single step into West Chu territory. Hearing this, it was like Yiting Xian was struck by lightning as he said in a stunned voice, Emperor. Chu Xiaoyang shook his head. He placed his hands behind his back and said with a proud expression, I don't want anything. You don't want it? Mo Chuan's eyes narrowed. He found that he couldn't understand Chu Xiaoyang at all. Of course I want your throne because this position belongs to me, but I don't need your charity and I don't need Ning's life to exchange for it. Mo Chuan, Chu Xiaoyang, do not have any areas where I can't compare to you. If I want the throne, I will openly take it back from you and not use this kind of despicable method. If I obtain the throne like this, she will look down on me for a lifetime. So, I don't want anything, I just want her. To live safely. Chu Xiaoyang said word for word. His eyes went past Mo Chuan and fell onto Qin Ning's pale as snow face. He looked at her deeply. Although he knew that she was unconscious and couldn't hear a word, he still said to her, Ning, they all look down on me. They think that I, Chu Xiaoyang, am a coward, that I am not a man, that I am despicable and shameless. Even you left me without any hesitation. You saved me 8 years ago and I will never forget that, so I saved you today. An eye for an eye, we're even now. The debt I owe you has finally been paid today. I, Chu Xiaoyang, do not owe you anything and you do not owe me anything. Chu Xiaoyang said with a smile. He looked up and revealed a smile at Imo Chuan. Emperor, Chu Xiaoyang will not let you all look down on me. One day, I will make you all look at me in a different light. At that time, I will take back everything you owe me and I will take back what belongs to me. Chu Xiaoyang raised his chin and returned to his previous arrogant, high-spirited, and domineering appearance. He turned around and strode out of the hall without looking back. Chapter 964. Heresy. This is simply heresy. Is King Dingyuan planning to rebel? When Yiting Xian heard the shocking words Chu Xiaoyang left behind, he was completely stunned. Ting Xian, forget what you just heard. You're not allowed to remember a single word. Mo Chuan said in a deep voice. His eyes fell in the direction Chu Xiaoyang left in with a complicated gaze. Chu Xiaoyang's words were indeed disgraceful, but Mo Chuan was not angry. Because no matter what, when her life was at stake, it was Chu Xiaoyang who sent the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng that could save her life. No matter what Chu Xiaoyang's goal was, he did not care. Yes, Emperor. Ting Xian did not hear anything. Yiting Xian coldly replied. Mo Chuan nodded. But Ting Xian does not understand. What does King Dingyuan mean by this? He spent so much effort to have Xiao Bai send a bowl of poisoned ginseng soup over. Didn't he want to kill the Empress? Didn't he want to take revenge on the Emperor? Why did he suddenly change his mind and send out the snow ginseng like this, not asking for anything else? He doesn't even want the throne in his hands. Yiting Xian could not understand. He thought that Chu Xiaoyang hated the Emperor and would use the snow ginseng to force the Emperor to do the thing he didn't want to do, but the result was completely out of his expectations. You don't understand. But this one understands. Mo Chuan said in a deep voice, he has his pride and dignity, he is not willing to use her life to obtain anything from this one because he doesn't want her to know and look down on him. In the end, he still hasn't forgotten his feelings for Ning Er. Not only did he not forget his feelings were deeply rooted. For her, Chu Xiaoyang could give up anything, including the throne. But Mo Chuan did not want to say this. His lips turned into a straight line. He didn't know why, but he could see through Chu Xiaoyang's heart, but he didn't want anyone to know, especially her. Dr. Zhang's medicine was quickly prepared and sent over. Although he knew that Dr. Zhang's medicine wouldn't be poisonous, Mo Chuan didn't dare be careless. He first tested the poison with the silver needles and then personally tasted it. Only when he felt the warmth flowing through his body did he relax. Chen Ning drank the snow ginseng soup and not long after, her chest began to slightly rise and fall. The faint black qi covering her face also began to disappear. Dr. Zhang took her pulse and said, the Empress poison has been cured. As long as she rests, she will wake up tomorrow. Mo Chuan couldn't help closing his eyes and letting out a long sigh. Mo Chuan couldn't help closing his eyes and Ning Er was fine. He looked up at Yiting Xian. Ting Xian, you've been tired all night, go back to the palace and rest. The eldest princess must be waiting for news in the palace. Go tell her that Ning Er is fine. Hearing Dr. Zhang's words, Yiting Xian's heart that was in his throat finally fell back into his stomach. Speaking of this storm, it was all because of the eldest princess. If anything had happened to Qin Ning, he and the eldest princess would not be able to escape the blame and the eldest princess would not be able to live happily for the rest of her life. After he left Mo Chuan, he quickly left the royal palace because there was still something important in his heart. He had to find the real murderer that replaced the pillars. Chapter 965. Dr. Zhang was already old and he was indeed feeling tired. Seeing that Chen Ning had taken the snow ginseng soup and the poison had been cured, he was relieved. So he left for the side hall. Mo Chuan sent people to bring a stretcher and carefully moved Xu Xiaobai to the side hall. He placed him in the same room as Dr. Zhang, making it convenient for Dr. Zhang to take care of him at any time. After doing all of this, Mo Chuan turned around to look at Chen Ning on the bed. He held her hand and although her fingers were still cold, they were no longer stiff. Under the warmth of his palm, they slowly became warm. It was like waking up from a nightmare. Mo Chuan's heart was filled with joy and excitement from surviving a disaster. The pair of dragon and phoenix wedding candles on the candlesticks in the room were still burning. Her bright red wedding dress was still as bright as ever, reminding him that this was their wedding night and that these were their wedding candles in the bridal chamber. This was the scene Mo Chuan had been looking forward to for a long time, but he never thought that it would be this kind of thrilling experience. He felt that he had gone from life to death and from death to life. It was a good thing she was out of danger and she had finally returned to his side. Tightly holding her hand, he began to cry tears of joy from recovering what he had lost. Mo Chuan, Mo Chuan. She suddenly began to mutter, calling out his name. Hearing her suddenly speak, Mo Chuan was pleasantly surprised. He leaned close to her face and said in a soft voice, Ning, I'm here, I'm right beside you. Can you hear me? Her face was still pale and her lips did not have any color. She gently shook her head on the pillow and her beautiful brows slightly knit together. Her black hair fell down her shoulders like silk. Take it away, take the ice away. I'm cold, cold. Her teeth were chattering. Cold. Mo Chuan was stunned for a bit before immediately covering her with the blanket. He also laid down beside her and wrapped his arms around her body, gently holding her in his embrace, using his body heat to warm her up. Feeling his warmth, she burrowed into his embrace. Then she curled up in his embrace like a little kitten, no longer trembling and peacefully sleeping with her eyes closed. He let out a soft sigh. He was afraid that something would happen to her again, so he placed his hand into her clothes to feel her heartbeat. Her body was no longer stiff and cold, and her skin had regained its softness and elasticity. His burning hands felt like he was touching soft jade. Her heartbeat was very strong, beating again and again in his palm. Mo Chuan's breathing unknowingly became heavy. His chin rubbed against her hair and he tightly held her in his embrace. Dr. Zhang had said that she would wake up at dawn. The 1,000-year-old snow ginseng really had the miraculous effect of reviving the dead. Not long ago, her body was cold and stiff without a trace of warmth, but now she was lying warm and soft in his embrace. Mo Chuan felt like he was dreaming and he didn't dare believe this was real. He actually did a very stupid action. He forcefully pinched his thigh and the pain caused him to twitch, but his face was filled with a smile. Great, this wasn't a dream. She really was lying in his embrace and they could hear each other's breaths. He lowered his head to see her long and curly eyelashes. Her snow-white cheeks had a faint blush that was very moving. Her lips were slightly curled up and they were full and moist. Chapter 966. Mo Chuan couldn't help lowering his head and placing his lips on her smooth and full forehead before closing his eyes. Thanking the heavens, he didn't take her away. Where's the ice and fire? Chen Ning seemed like she had just woken up from a long dream. She blurrily opened her eyes and saw a pair of deep eyes staring at her. The familiar gentleness in those eyes made her heart tremble. She felt like she was being held in a warm and fiery embrace. What ice? What fire? Seeing her wake up, Mo Chuan suppressed the excitement in his heart and asked with a smile. Chen Ning's consciousness was still a bit blurry as she replied, I dreamed that I was locked in an ice house and it was very, very cold, so cold that my body was trembling. Then a fire suddenly appeared and that fire was very warm. Very quickly, I wasn't cold anymore, but I felt very hot. I wanted to push the fire away, but the fire kept getting hotter and hotter. Mo Chuan couldn't help laughing as he said, "You want to push the fire away? You can forget about pushing me away in this life." His arms tightened as he tightly held her in his embrace. His heart was filled with emotions and he couldn't control himself as he kissed her lips. Until she felt like she couldn't breathe and said while gasping for breath, "Mo Chuan, you. Let go of me. I'm hot, it's really hot." She had just regained consciousness when she was passionately kissed by him. She felt her face turn red, her heart beat faster, and her body become hot. Her soft and tender voice made his heart unable to stop moving. He smiled as he let go of his arms, but he still let her lie in his embrace. He used his hand to touch her forehead and found that there was a small layer of sweat on her forehead. Moreover, her face had turned from snow white to rosy. "Ning, do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Dr. Zhang is in the side hall. If you feel uncomfortable, I'll immediately call him over to see you." Mo Chuan saw her knit her brows and his heart jumped. "I just feel hot." "Mo Chuan, why is it this hot?" She began to struggle a bit. Mo Chuan also felt that the body in his embrace was burning like fire. Her face became redder and redder as she became even more worried. That 1,000-year-old snow ginseng was a very nutritious item. The ginseng energy was very strong and although it could cure all poisons, it was also a very nutritious item. She was held in Mo Chuan's embrace. His body was very hot and adding in his fiery kiss, it was like a flame had ignited her. It made her feel like there was a fire burning in her body, making her body feel hot. It was hard to resist and she couldn't help tearing off the red wedding dress on her body. "Ning, don't move. I'll immediately call Dr. Zhang over to see you." Mo Chuan was shocked. He quickly grabbed her hand and found that her palm was even hotter than his own. He raised his voice and said, "Ning's hand, Mo Chuan." Dr. Zhang was suddenly woken up from his sleep. He was so panicked that he didn't even put on his shoes and directly ran to the palace barefooted to take Qin Ning's pulse. "Ti Chuan, Ti say, Ning," and said. "Mo, God, ZT, Doctor, Ti Ning Ti, she, Ti." Mo Chuan pressed down on Qin Ning's hand, not letting her move. Her face was already so red that it looked like blood was about to drip out. Chapter 967. Doesn't matter. But she's very uncomfortable. Can't you make her feel better? Mo Chuan stared at him and said. Dr. Zhang shook his head and said, "Speaking of this, the Empress body is burning up, it should be caused by the Emperor." Mo Chuan said with a frown, "What do you mean?" Dr. Zhang's face turned a bit warm and he gave a cough. "Emperor, you. Were you and the Empress just now being intimate?" After he said this, Mo Chuan and Qin Ning's faces turned red. Cool. This time it was Mo Chuan's turn to cough. He couldn't help glaring at Dr. Zhang, thinking that this old doctor was peeking from outside the palace. How did he even know this? Dr. Zhang lowered his head and said, "There is one more thing this old minister wants to remind you. Within a month, you can't be intimate with the Empress. Especially that. That what? It's that nuptial chamber. Why can't I?" Mo Chuan's brows knit together as he fiercely stared at Dr. Zhang. Was this old doctor becoming more and more muddled with age? Dr. Zhang coughed again. "It's because the Empress body doesn't allow it. It's all because the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng soup's effects are too overbearing. The Empress has a coldine body and eating this hot snow ginseng soup should be a great tonic, but the Empress has a coldine snake venom. It is only temporarily suppressed by the snow ginseng, so the Empress still needs a month to slowly absorb the snow ginseng's effects. If you and the Empress become intimate, the Empress blood will boil and it will likely stimulate the snake venom in her body, causing it to act up again. At that time, even with the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng and 10,000-year-old poria, it would be hard. He shook his head before he finished, but Imo Chuan and Chen Ning understood what he meant. Chen Ning couldn't help glaring at Imo Chuan. It was all his fault just now. As soon as she opened her eyes, he kissed her like a hungry wolf, causing her body to feel like it was on fire. Imo Chuan was anxious and impatient as he grabbed Dr. Zhang's wrist. Dr. Zhang, take her pulse again. Perhaps you took the wrong pulse just now. Didn't you say that all the poison in her body had been cured? Why did it change again? Dr. Zhang saw his anxious red face and he couldn't help secretly laughing in his stomach, but he shook his head with a serious expression on his face. Does the Emperor doubt this old minister's medical skills? If the Emperor does not believe this old official, you can have the Tai of the Imperial Hospital take the Empress pulse and see if their conclusion is the same as this old official's. This one trusts you the most in the doctor hospital. Dr. Zhang, there is no other way. Do we have to wait for a month? In this 1 month, if this one does not get intimate with her, will she be fine? Imo Chuan stared at Dr. Zhang's face. Don't worry. If this, then this, I will test. This is natural. As long as the Empress' heart is calm, she will definitely be safe. The Emperor can give the Empress some internal cultivation techniques for the Empress to practice, which will help her absorb the snow ginseng's medicinal properties. It's very likely that the Empress will benefit from the blessings and have some small success in her internal cultivation. Dr. Zhang thought about it and then added. Chapter 968. Alright, this one will listen to you. In this 1 month, this one will live in separate rooms with her and this one will teach her internal energy from tomorrow onwards. Dr. Zhang, it's been hard on you, you can go rest now. His eyes fell onto Dr. Zhang's shoeless feet and his lips slightly curled. After Dr. Zhang left, Imo Chuan turned around and looked into her dark and clear eyes. Seeing the sweat on her forehead, his heart filled with a sense of guilt. Ning, it's all because I couldn't control myself, that's why you're feeling this uncomfortable. Are you still very hot? Chen Ning shook her head with a smile. She could already feel the heat in her body that wanted to melt her slowly extinguish. I'm fine. Imo Chuan, do you want to live in separate rooms with me? Imo Chuan said in his heart, of course I'm not willing, but I can't ignore Dr. Zhang's words. He slowly nodded and said with a smile, it's just a month's time and we'll already be husband and wife. What, you don't even want to wait for a month? His voice was filled with a teasing tone. Chen Ning's face turned red and she said, Pei, it's clearly you who doesn't want to wait. You're right, I really don't want to wait. I've waited for this day for a long time and finally we can consummate our marriage, but I never thought it would be like this. Imo Chuan reached out and gently hugged her, but he quickly let go. He did not dare hug her for too long because once he hugged her soft body, his heart would become restless. Chen Ning's mind had already recovered. She remembered the scene before she fainted and the black and white snake that came out of the gift box. The snake's poisonous fangs had bitten her index finger. She instantly gave a cold shiver and raised her right hand. The bite marks on her finger had not disappeared, but the swollen bruise had returned to its original white and white color. Imo Chuan, I fainted after being bitten by the snake. What happened after that? Tell me, how did I get better so quickly? That snake's poison was clearly very strong and you gave me 1,000-year-old snow ginseng soup, right? But I remember that the snow ginseng was with Chu Xiaoyang and it was Chu Xiaoyang who saved me, right? Her mind turned very quickly and she immediately guessed it. Imo Chuan very slowly nodded. Although his heart was unwilling, he was not willing to lie to her. It was Chu Xiaoyang who saved you. He was the one who gave you that 1,000-year-old snow ginseng to save your life. He said that he saved you 8 years ago and today he will exchange his life for yours. From now on, he doesn't owe you and you doesn't owe him. Mo Chuan repeated Chu Xiaoyang's words and then looked at her without blinking. He only said half of what he wanted to say. There were some things that he didn't want to say. This was because she had nothing to do with Chu Xiaoqin. Chen Ning was absent-minded for a moment. She softly said, "A life for a life." Chen. Her. Her tututu. Chen, he. Too. She pressed her hand against her chest and felt a dull pain. She vaguely knew what it was, but she didn't want to think about it. Mo Chuan, there is something I don't understand. The gift box I opened was clearly a gift from the eldest princess, but how could the snake the eldest princess sent be poisonous? I don't believe that this matter was done by the eldest princess. Someone must have done something, and this person wants to harm either you or me. Chapter 969. Mo Chuan looked at her with an indescribable admiration in his eyes. She was smarter than he had imagined. He nodded his head and said, "That's right, someone did a deceitful substitution. And Lu didn't know that the person I married was you. She was angry that I married someone else, so she sent a snake into the palace. She knew that I was most afraid of snakes. However, the one she placed in the gift box was a black snake without its fangs, and the one she sent into the palace was a highly venomous black and white snake." Chen Ning took in a cold breath and blurted out, "This person must be someone by the eldest princess' side." Mo Chuan nodded in praise, "That's right, I've already sent Yiting Xian to investigate this matter. Once there is any progress, he will quickly send news over." "Ning, are you afraid?" He took a deep look at her. "Afraid? Afraid of that snake? Of course I'm not afraid." Chen Ning shook her head and winked at Mo Chuan. With a mischievous smile, she said, "But when someone saw that snake, their face changed color and their body trembled in fear. Mo Chuan's face couldn't help turning red as he stubbornly said, "Nonsense, when did I tremble? It was clearly me who cut that snake in half." Did I say that you were trembling? You're confessing without being pressed." Her smile made her eyes turn into crescents and her lips curl into a small dimple. Seeing this, he found it both funny and angry. He wanted to continue defending himself, but he was mesmerized by her smile, and an indescribable feeling welled up in his heart. He thanked the heavens for listening to his heart's prayers and finally returning her to him. Now he could see her laughing again, and hear her teasing laughter. She lowered her head with a slightly red face under his passionate gaze. If he kept looking at her like this, she felt like she would be melted by him. They had already gone through the wedding ceremony and become his, but he still looked like he wanted to eat her up. Could it be that all men's minds were thinking about that? It was a good thing Dr. Zhang said that they couldn't have sex for a month, otherwise she would have been skinned by him already. Thinking of Dr. Zhang's pale white face when he said he would have to wait a month, Chen Ning couldn't help letting out a poochie laugh. "You mischievous girl, you're laughing at me in your heart again, aren't you?" When Mo Chuan saw her long eyelashes drooping and her eyes turning, he was both angry and in love at the same time. He lifted her chin and stared into her eyes, but she smiled without letting it go. "Mo Chuan, tell me, why is a man like you afraid of a long worm?" She teased him without fear because she was sure that he wouldn't do anything dangerous to her right now. He would treat Dr. Zhang's words as an imperial edict and wouldn't go against a single word. Mo Chuan gritted his teeth. If it was any other time, he would have already sealed her teasing mouth with his lips and punished her harshly. But now, he didn't dare, so he could only stare at her with all his might. However, this little girl didn't seem to be afraid at all. She had already seen through him. It was precisely because she knew that he wouldn't dare to do anything to her that she dared to tease him like this. "Ning her, you better not provoke me again. Otherwise, in a month's time, I will make it so that you won't be able to get off the bed." "I will, Ning er," I said, you. Me, I. Chapter 970. She was stunned. She bit her lips as she looked at Imo Chuan, not daring to believe that these words had actually come from his mouth. Just a few days ago, in the farmer's family's wedding night, he was still innocent and ignorant. She never would have thought that in just a few short days, he would suddenly understand this much. She was more and more glad that she was poisoned, otherwise even her bones would have been eaten by him. "Why aren't you saying anything? Do you know fear now? Where did your bravery from before go?" Imo Chuan looked at her red face in amusement. He did not believe that he couldn't take care of this daring girl. Sure enough, a single sentence from him made her give up. I'm afraid of you, my lord husband." She turned her eyes and revealed a smile. Her laughter was as clear as a silver bell. Hearing her call him husband made his heart feel as sweet as honey. He lowered his eyes to look at the smile on her lips. His Adam's apple bobbed, and he almost pressed his lips against the smile on her lips. She immediately sensed his intention and hurriedly raised her hand to cover his lips. "Don't." She was really afraid that he would kiss her without a care. He kissed her soft palm and her face turned red again. This action made it seem like she was purposely putting her hand to his lips for him to kiss. Imo Chuan pulled down her hand and tightly held it in his palm. His face was filled with a serious expression. "Ning you've just married me and you've already met this kind of danger, almost losing your life. Do you regret it? Do you regret marrying me? If I tell you that this kind of danger will happen again in the future and it will be even more dangerous, will you be afraid?" Chen Ning finally understood what he meant when he asked her if she was afraid. She immediately shook her head without any hesitation and said, "I'm not afraid." "You're really not afraid?" Imo Chuan looked into her eyes. This time it was a poisonous snake, next time it might be a poisonous arrow and it will be hard to defend against. At that time, there might not be a second snow ginseng to save your life and you might really die. Could it be you're not afraid of death? "I'm not afraid because I know that if I die, you will accompany me, right? Even on the road to the underworld, I won't be alone. If I'm with you, what do I have to be afraid of?" She revealed a faint smile as she remembered what he said before she fainted. He said, "If you die, I won't live either. Why would I care about a trivial poison?" At that time, he had blurted it out without thinking, revealing his true feelings. It was because of this that her heart was filled with excitement and the snake venom acted, causing her to faint. Imo Chuan had the urge to kiss her again. The words she said always made his heart move. He finally restrained himself and looked at her with a serious expression. "Do you want me to blame?" She asked in a strange voice. "What would I blame you for?" "It's me. I didn't act in time and let the snake bite you. If I had acted decisively and killed the snake as soon as it appeared, you wouldn't have been poisoned." Recalling the scene at that time, he shuddered again. "Fool." Chen Ning placed a finger on his lips, not allowing him to say anything else. Chapter 971. Imo Chuan instantly looked away from her in a bit of an embarrassed manner. Of course not. He would not admit that he had cried in front of her. Even if he didn't admit it, he couldn't hide it from her intelligent eyes and her exquisite heart. Her heart was moved and her eyes became slightly hot. She threw herself into his embrace and tightly hugged his waist. Mo Chuan, I didn't know anything after being unconscious, but seeing me like this, your heart must have felt bad. You must be 10 times more sad than me. Next time, I won't make you worry like this. I'd rather be the one worried and sad. Mo Chuan stroked her hair with a faint smile. You little girl, you still have a bit of a conscience. But are you cursing me to be poisoned next time? He didn't want her to think about this, so he deliberately teased her. Chen Ning looked up and her eyes were covered in a layer of mist. She looked at him with tears in her eyes. If you die, I will die with you. You little girl, you really don't have a filter on your mouth, saying death as soon as you say it. Right now is our wedding night, we will grow old together, how could we die so easily? Mo Chuan pinched her nose in a punitive manner. Hearing the words wedding night, the two of them couldn't help looking at the dragon and phoenix wedding candles that were still burning and their hearts skipped a beat. If it wasn't for the accident, they would have already. That's right, this is our wedding night, how can we waste this kind of auspicious night? She wrapped her arms around his neck and said in a soft voice, Mo Chuan, I don't want to live in separate rooms, I want to share a bed with you. Mo Chuan was shocked. No, Dr. Zhang said that we can't do this within a month. She smiled. I only said to share a bed, I didn't say to do that with you. With you? What are you thinking? His face instantly turned red as he stared at her. You little girl, if you keep teasing me, I won't care anymore. Chen Ning giggled and leaned into his embrace, closing her eyes. Mo Chuan, hug me to sleep for a bit, all right? Mo Chuan hesitated a bit before hugging her onto the large wedding bed. The two of them lay on the same pillow, facing each other, breathing in each other's breaths. Only the two of them were wearing red wedding clothes. The red candlelight shone on their faces, making them look bright and dark. You look at me and I look at you, the two of them smiled at each other. Sleep. Mo Chuan leaned over and kissed her face. He gently pulled her into his embrace and held her hand, feeling her warm body in his embrace. He thought that from now on, he would be able to accompany her like this until their hair turned white. His lips curled into a smile and he closed his eyes. That night, he was both mentally and physically exhausted. At this time, his heart finally fell back into his stomach. Drowsiness washed over him, and he quickly fell asleep. Because Chen Ning had slept for a long time, she was filled with energy. Adding in the fact that the 1,000-year-old snow ginseng was not a normal item, it was like a warm current flowing through her body. Although it was not as hot as fire, it still made her feel a sense of novelty. She pulled Mo Chuan to sleep, not because she wanted to sleep, but because she saw his bloodshot eyes and her heart ached for him. Hearing Mo Chuan's breathing become light and stable, she knew that he had fallen asleep. Chapter 972. Girl, why aren't you sleeping yet? What are you doing? Suddenly, Mo Chuan opened his eyes and looked at her with a bit of annoyance. Chen Ning was shocked and complained, so you were pretending to be asleep. Her hands and feet trembled, not daring to move at all. Her hands and feet were all numb at this time. He revealed a faint smile. I really was asleep, but being stared at by you like this, even a wooden person would be woken up. There was something he was too embarrassed to say. Actually, with her in his embrace, how could he sleep soundly? Even if she didn't move, he could smell the sweet fragrance coming from her body in his dreams, so how could he not be moved? You're not sleeping, what are you thinking about? He pulled at her hair. Since she didn't want to sleep, he would accompany her to talk. Actually, even if he didn't say anything, just looking at her was good. Chen Ning's eyes turned. She was indeed thinking about something. Mo Chuan, do you think husband you will be able to find anything after going to the eldest princess palace? I don't know either. Mo Chuan shook his head, but no matter what, I won't let the person who poisoned you go. If I catch him, I will give the order to dismember him. he said through gritted teeth. Chen Ning said, I think husband you won't be able to find any clues. If you want to dismember him, you have to find the culprit first. You don't believe in Ting Xian's ability. As long as we can catch the girl who secretly swapped the snake, Ting Xian will definitely have a way to open her mouth. I'm afraid husband you will only find a dead person, and a dead person's mouth is the best at keeping secrets. She gave a faint sigh. Mo Chuan's pupils shrank. What do you mean? My meaning is very clear. Think about it, the girl that swapped the snake is definitely not the real culprit. At most, she was ordered by someone or bought by someone to do this. As for the real culprit, his thoughts are very clever, actually thinking of this kind of flawless method to harm others. No matter if the snake bit you or me, this matter will be related to the eldest princess. This plan of framing others and using someone else to kill others can be said to be very good. Since he could think of this method to harm others, how could he leave someone alive for others to investigate? Therefore, I guess that the result of Prince Consort Ye's investigation must have yielded nothing. As for that servant girl, she either escaped or died. After Mo Chuan heard this, his heart suddenly sank. He had high hopes for Yi Ting Xian, but hearing Chen Ning's words, he felt they were reasonable. Then we're just letting the real culprit escape like this. I'm just guessing. Perhaps husband Yi has already found the maid and has already asked the questions. Mo Chuan couldn't help shaking his head and saying, Ning, if it's really like you think, then he definitely won't be able to find anything. Mo Chuan couldn't help shaking his head and saying, Ning, if it really is as you expected, then he definitely won't be able to find anything. Mo Chuan couldn't help shaking his head and saying, Ning, if it's really like you think, then he definitely won't be able to find anything. Your Majesty, please forgive me. Prince Consort Yi has an urgent matter and requests to see the Emperor. Mo Chuan immediately stood up and looked at Chen Ning. He knew that Yi Ting Xian had an urgent matter, so he didn't care about the time and rushed to the palace to report. Mo Chuan immediately stood up and looked at Chen Ning. He knew that Yi Ting Xian had a result, so he didn't care about the time and went to the palace to report. Chapter 973. Mo Chuan turned around and held Chen Ning's hand as he said, Ning, come with me. He knew that she was smart and with her here, they would be able to find more clues. Chen Ning said with a nod, all right. The two of them came to the side hall and found that not only was Yi Ting Xian here, the eldest princess, Xiao Si, and Shui Feng were also here. There was a wet person lying on the ground like he had just been fished out of the water, but he wasn't moving at all. When the eldest princess saw Chen Ning, she immediately went forward and grabbed her hand. Ning, it's all my fault. It's all my fault, it was me who thought of this stupid idea, actually sending a snake into the palace. I wanted to scare royal brother, but it almost took your life. Ning, viciously scold me and beat me up, that way my heart will feel a bit better. Her eyes were filled with tears, feeling ashamed and ashamed. Chen Ning wiped her tears and comforted her, eldest princess, this matter has nothing to do with you, you don't have to feel guilty. It was me who wanted to play and wanted to catch that snake, that's why I was bitten by it, it really has nothing to do with you. Not to mention that this matter was caused by someone who wanted to borrow a knife to kill me. Even if you gave me a different gift, he would have thought of another way. The eldest princess hatefully said, it's all this princess' fault for trusting the wrong person. Ning, I never would have thought that the maid by my side would do this kind of thing, but she has already committed suicide. If she didn't die, this princess would have skinned her and pulled out her tendons, it wouldn't have been enough to vent the hatred in this princess' heart. She pointed at the motionless person on the ground, it's her. Committed suicide. Chen Ning repeated this and looked down at the maid. That maid was around 18 or 19 years old and had a delicate appearance, but her face was incomparably pale and her long hair was draped over her face, making her look like a water ghost. She remembered this maid's face. She was indeed a maid serving the eldest princess. Yes, Empress. The one who spoke was not the eldest princess, but rather Ting. Ting told the eldest princess not to alert the enemy and told her to look after the maid and wait for me to return to the palace to interrogate her. When I returned, I found out that the maid had already disappeared. We searched for half a night and finally found the maid's floating corpse in the lotus pond. She must have been afraid of being exposed, so she jumped into the lake to escape punishment. Ting stomped his feet in hate. Now that she's dead, all the clues are gone, so we can't find the culprit. Mo Chuan looked at the dead maid and couldn't help looking up at Qin Ning. His eyes were filled with shock and admiration. Everything was exactly as she had expected. But just like what Ting said, once this servant girl died, they had no way to investigate. His face turned ashen and his hands clenched into fists. He had nowhere to vent the anger in his chest. She had already expected this matter. She knelt down beside the maid and carefully examined her. She carefully examined the maid's hands and finally opened the maid's mouth to take a look. She squatted down next to the maidservant and lowered her head to examine her carefully. She examined the maidservant's hands very carefully and finally pried open the maidservant's mouth to take a look. The people around them were all baffled by what they saw. Killed to silence her. The eldest princess looked at her in a daze and a chill ran down her back. Killed to silence her. The eldest princess looked at her in a daze and a chill ran down her back. Chapter 974. Empress, how can you see that she didn't drown herself in the lake? She was clearly fished out of the lake by us and we asked the coroner to examine the corpse. The coroner said that she drowned because there was mud in her mouth. Ting was the first to recover and he couldn't help refuting. This is because the murderer who killed her is very smart. The mud was placed in her mouth on purpose, but the murderer forgot one thing. When a person is drowning, they will struggle. If she really drowned, not only would there be mud in her mouth, there would also be mud in her fingernails. But look at her 10 fingers, the gaps between her fingernails are completely clean. Qin Ning pointed at the maid's hand. Everyone looked over and found that it was exactly as she said. The maid's 10 fingers were spread out and there was not a single bit of mud in her fingernails. There is also another point. When a person is drowning, they will randomly grasp and when they die, they will clench their fists and not spread out like this. So from these 2 points, we can conclude that this maid did not drown to death, but rather after she was killed, her body was thrown into the lake. The murderer could have already killed her and after sinking the maid's body into the lake, he thought of a way to make her body float to the surface and let people find it. This way, everyone will think that she committed suicide and they won't be able to investigate it. Qin Ning said. After she said this, Zhui Feng couldn't help slapping his thigh and Xiaoxi nodded his head. Ting looked at Qin Ning with a look of amazement. The eldest princess clapped and said, Ning, you really are too smart. The points you mentioned, this princess couldn't see it at all. Ting said that she committed suicide and this princess also thought that she committed suicide. You're still the smart one. Ting compared to Ning, you're simply a blockhead. Ting white face turned red and he lowered his head. He had thought that he was smart and careful enough. The mud in the maid's mouth was found by him before the coroner, so he had thought that the maid had committed suicide. He never thought that Qin Ning would find 2 suspicious points that he didn't even notice. Princess, you can't call her that like before. She is now the Empress, your royal sister-in-law. He reminded her in a small voice. The eldest princess disapprovingly said, She is my royal sister-in-law. I can also call her Ning, Ning, do you want me to call you royal sister-in-law or do you want me to call you Ning, like before? Chen Ning said with a faint smile, whatever the princess likes. Then I'll call you Ning, like before. Emperor, you wouldn't be angry at me because of this, right? The eldest princess looked at Imo Chuan. She was usually carefree, but in her heart, other than Yiting Xian, the two people she cared about the most were Empress Dowager Zhou and Imo Chuan. Her heart was filled with guilt, not daring to talk to Imo Chuan, but not saying it in her heart made her feel very uncomfortable. She was very guilty and did not dare talk to Imo Chuan. Ning's heart, Mot Ting's Ning's Ning. Imo Chuan couldn't help glaring at her, and Lu, when you and Ting Xian get married, guess what gift this one will give you? There was a strong sense of threat in his tone. Chapter 975. Emperor, if you're still angry with me, then send me a few boxes of toads. You know that I'm most afraid of those things. The eldest princess said this while shivering. Her appearance made Imo Chuan's serious face unable to keep up. And Lu, if you dare cause trouble again, I'll fill your new bed with toads. I won't dare. Emperor, I really won't dare anymore. When the eldest princess thought of the toads crawling over the bed, all the hairs on her body stood up. Chen Ning couldn't help laughing. She never thought that the eldest princess who was as strong as a man would actually be afraid of toads. This pair of siblings was really interesting, one was afraid of snakes and the other was afraid of toads. Everyone revealed a relaxed smile on their faces. But very quickly, this smile disappeared. Imo Chuan looked at the maidservant's corpse on the ground and knit his brows. Ting Xian, is there any way to continue investigating? Yiting Xian shook his head and said, please forgive me Emperor, Ting Xian is useless. Ting Xian has already investigated everything, but there was nothing. Ting Xian has checked everything in this maid's room, but it's all the same as the other maids, there's nothing unsightly at all. There's also the money she saved up that's at the bottom of the chest. She served the eldest princess for so many years and has saved up 200 silver coins. Her parents died when she was young and she was sold into the princess palace, so this money is her dowry. The eldest princess had promised her that after she and I were married, she would return the contract and find a good marriage for her. But I never thought that after the eldest princess treated her with such sincerity, she would betray the eldest princess and do this kind of thing. Ting Xian's eyes were filled with tears as he said, you're right. When Imo Chuan heard this, he felt that he had no clue at all. He thought that he would start investigating the maidservant's family, but hearing Yiting Xian say that the maidservant was alone, it wasn't because her parents were being threatened. She had saved quite a bit of money, it was enough for her to live comfortably for the rest of her life. If it's not for money or a threat, then why is she doing this? Imo Chuan looked up, unable to understand it no matter how much he thought about it. If it wasn't for these two things, then there is only one thing that would make her betray the eldest princess. Chen Ning suddenly said. What is it? Imo Chuan asked. Everyone's eyes looked at Chen Ning, especially the eldest princess. Her eyes were wide open, waiting for Chen Ning to solve the mystery in her heart. That is love. She did this kind of thing for a man. Chen Ning said. The eldest princess sucked in a cold breath and immediately shook her head as she said, man. Impossible. This princess has never seen her with a man before. Men from outside will never enter this princess's residence. Even Ting Xian's manservant cannot take a step into this princess's residence. Eldest princess, think carefully. Is there really no one in your palace? For example, a young servant who has just been recruited into the mansion, a cook, or a groom who feeds the horses. Before Chen Ning could finish, the eldest princess patted her head and interrupted her. Chapter 976. Horse Taming Expert. Yiting Xian cut in, "When did your palace have a horse taming expert? How come I didn't know about it?" His words were filled with jealousy. When he heard the eldest princess say that this person was refined, his heart filled with discomfort. Other than him, the eldest princess had never looked at any other man. But the eldest princess did not notice his jealousy at all and just rolled her eyes at him. "This princess has just hired a new horse groom. Does this kind of small matter need to be reported to you in detail? This princess hasn't married you yet, and you already want to control this princess's every move." Yiting Xian said with a bitter smile, "How would Ting Xian have the guts to control the eldest princess matters?" The eldest princess gave a snort and then said, "This horse groom is young, but his horse taming skills are amazing. That wild horse that no one dares approach quickly became docile under his hands, and this princess was very happy. So I asked him if he was willing to raise horses for this princess, and he happily agreed. This princess did not mistreat him and gave him a salary of 10 silver coins a month. This princess thought I found a treasure, but I never thought that." She couldn't help stamping her feet. This princess will go to the palace to find this horse groom and ask him clearly. "Eldest princess, please wait. If this matter is related to that horse groom, you won't be able to find him even if you go now." Chen Ning pulled her back. "I was only guessing, but hearing the eldest princess say that there really was a new horse groom, then this matter isn't far from the truth. Eldest princess, your eyes are very high, and even you say that this horse groom looks refined and handsome, so his appearance shouldn't be inferior to husband Ye's. Even if he is a horse groom, with this kind of beauty, it's hard to not be moved by the maids in your palace. This maid is already 18 or 19 years old and has already begun to fall in love. As long as that horse groom teases her a bit, she will naturally be enchanted by him. If a girl is infatuated with a man, she wouldn't knit her brows even if she died for him. However, my guess is that she didn't mean to betray the princess. It's very likely that she accidentally mentioned this matter to her lover and was used by him, causing her to be killed." She gave a low sigh. "Speaking of this, she is a pitiful infatuated person. If we really want to find the culprit, then the horse groom is the real culprit." Everyone present nodded. Mo Chuan immediately said, "Ting Xian, Yuan and Lu immediately returned to the palace to find that cart driver. There's no need to be afraid even if he really escapes, and Lu has seen his appearance before. Find someone to draw a picture of him, and even if you flip the entire capital city, you have to find this person for this one." He paused before saying, "There is another suspicious person." "And Lu, who is the person who gave you the horse?" "This could very well be a series of schemes. He purposely gave you a wild horse that was difficult to tame, and that was how he lured this coachman into the mansion." The eldest princess said without even thinking, "Impossible, this is definitely impossible. This has nothing to do with that person." "Oh, that person. Then who is this person?" Mo Chuan stared into her eyes as he spoke. The eldest princess couldn't help looking at Yiting Xian and saying, "He is Ting Xian's father, Marquis Xian Wu, Marquis Yi." Hearing the words Marquis Yi, Mo Chuan was instantly silent. Xiao Si and Jue Feng did not dare take a deep breath. Chapter 977. Chen Ning only knew that Yiting Xian was Marquis Xian Wu's second son, but she didn't know anything else about Marquis Xian Wu. She saw that when the people present heard the name Marquis Xian Wu, they all turned into gourds with their mouths cut off. She secretly thought, there must be a story that I don't know about. But she knew that now wasn't the time to ask, so she continued to remain silent. And Lo is right, this matter has nothing to do with Marquis Xian Wu. Sending the horse could just be a coincidence. Even if Marquis Xian Wu didn't send the horse to Enlo, that horse groom would have other methods to enter the eldest princess palace. Mo Chuan was silent for a bit before saying this. Many thanks for the Emperor's trust in my father. Yiting Xian gave a deep bow to Mo Chuan. Marquis Xian Wu is very loyal, this one and mother trusts him the most, so how could we suspect him? Mo Chuan nodded to Yiting Xian and said, if it wasn't for Marquis Xian Wu supporting mother and helping this one ascend the throne in the past, this one wouldn't have sat on the throne. Everyone can harm this one, but Marquis Xian Wu definitely won't. Ting Xian, don't tell Marquis Xian Wu about this matter, otherwise he will overthink it. Yes, Emperor. Since it's like this, you can go find the horse groom's whereabouts. As long as you catch him, everything will be revealed. Mo Chuan said. Yiting Xian agreed. When he was prepared to leave the palace with the eldest princess, Chen Ning suddenly spoke up. Wait a minute, I suddenly thought of a method. Perhaps we can find the mastermind behind this matter. What method? Mo Chuan's mind instantly trembled as he looked at her without blinking. Yiting Xian and the eldest princess also turned around. Chen Ning looked outside the palace and Mo Chuan immediately understood her meaning. He said, Xiao Si, you and Zhui Feng guard outside the palace, don't let anyone come close. Xiao Si and Zhui Feng gave a sound of agreement. Although they were filled with curiosity and wanted to hear Chen Ning's method, they didn't dare go against the emperor's orders. One of them guarded the roof and the other guarded the door. Ning He, you can speak now. There is no one outside who can hear you. Chen Ning nodded and asked Mo Chuan, I was bitten by a poisonous snake, how many people know about this? Other than the people here, there are also the eunuchs and maids in Guan Osprey Palace. However, I've already given strict orders that this matter can't be spread at all and it can't be passed to mother's ears. As for Enle Palace. Mo Chuan looked at Yiting Xian. Yiting Xian immediately said, Emperor can be assured, Ting Xian has already told the eldest princess not to alert the enemy. When the eldest princess went back to the palace to find that maid, she only said that something important had been lost in the palace. Perhaps that maid stole it, but she didn't reveal any other information. He paused and then said, that's right, King Ding Yuan also knows about this. Others can't say it, but it's hard to guarantee that King Ding Yuan won't spread this matter. There is also Dr. Zhang. I don't know if Dr. Zhang will. He hesitated. You knows what should be said and what should not be said, this believe him believe. Yen. Ting Tian Ting Chuan Mo Tian said. This means that this news hasn't been spread out and not many people know about it, right? Chen Ning's eyes turned. Mo Chuan nodded, that's right. Then, the matter of me drinking the snow ginseng soup to cure the snake's poison, the mastermind behind the scenes, he definitely doesn't know. She said. Chapter 978. Chen Ning's eyes lit up and she clapped her hands, letting out a crisp sound. Very good, then we'll beat them at their own game. We'll beat the grass and scare the snake, luring the snake out of its hole. How do we beat them at their own game and lure the snake out of its hole? The eldest princess impatiently asked. Although Yiting Xian did not say anything, his mind began to move. He had already vaguely guessed Chen Ning's intentions. Mo Chuan revealed a faint smile and looked at her with eyes of praise. When she opened her mouth, he understood her thoughts. This feeling of being connected made his heart feel very comfortable. The eldest princess pulled Chen Ning's hand and urged her, Ning He, speak clearly. How do you want to find the real culprit behind this? Do you want to make this matter known to everyone? Chen Ning said with a nod, that's right. Husband Ye's previous idea was not to beat the grass and scare the snake, but my method is the exact opposite. I want to beat the grass and scare the snake. Only by beating the grass will we be able to scare the snake hiding in the grass and have it come out of its hole. There aren't many people who know that I was bitten by a poisonous snake, and I believe that the real culprit behind this doesn't know either. If the news that I was bitten by the eldest princess on my wedding night and my life is in danger were to spread, the emperor would angrily throw the eldest princess into prison. When the culprit hears this news, do you think he would be so happy that he wouldn't be able to close his mouth? This is because he has killed 2 birds with 1 stone and successfully framed me. His plan has succeeded, so he will be proud of himself. Once a person is proud, they will reveal some flaws. What do you think the real culprit will do next? She looked at the 3 people around her. The 3 of them shook their heads. I can't guess it. Ning, quickly tell me, what will the culprit do? The eldest princess broke out in a cold sweat hearing this. Her hand holding Chen Ning was also covered in sweat, feeling nervous and worried. Chen Ning said with a faint smile, he has done such a proud thing, so of course he will personally see the results of his victory. Even if he doesn't personally appear, he will still send someone. My guess is that this person's identity is not normal and that horse groom is just a chess piece in his hands. If he can send someone into the eldest princess palace to do this, it means he knows the royal family like the back of his hand. If he can send someone into the eldest princess palace, then he can definitely send someone into the royal palace. So, what we need to do is open a large net and wait for the big fish to fall into it. After she said this, she saw that the 3 people in the room were all silent and were looking at her with strange gazes. Did I say something wrong? Or do you think my idea isn't good? She felt that the plan she came up with was perfect, and there were almost no flaws. The eldest princess shook her head and she couldn't say anything. Because Chen Ning's method had completely shocked her. She had always thought that Yiting Xian was the smartest person she knew, but Chen Ning had completely changed her mind. Use Ning. Use mind. Compared to you, my brain is like a pig's. The eldest princess patted her head in annoyance. Chen Ning couldn't help laughing. Mo Chuan also couldn't help revealing a smile. Ting Xian, do you think Ning-er's method will work? Yiting Xian sincerely said, Emperor, the Empress method is very good. Ting Xian is ashamed. Chapter 979. Empress Dowager Zhou felt her right eyelid twitch when she woke up. When Su Jin came in to help her wash up, her expression was strange and her eyes were evasive, which made Empress Dowager Zhou immediately notice something strange. Su Jin, did something happen? Tell this widow, did something happen to the emperor? Empress Dowager Zhou's voice suddenly rose. No, it's not something happened to the emperor, it's... Su Jin gritted her teeth and finally said the news she had just heard, it's something happened to the Empress. Empress? What happened to her? Empress Dowager Zhou's heart was only half at ease, while the other half was still in her throat. Su Jin kneeled down and reported in a choked voice, this servant has just received news. It said that last night, the Empress was bitten by a poisonous snake in the bridal room and is currently unconscious. Perhaps her life is in danger. When she had just heard this news, her 3 souls had disappeared from her body. Her hands were numb and she couldn't recover for a long time. Empress Dowager Zhou didn't know that the Empress was Qin Ning, but she knew. She had been worried all night, worried that the paper wouldn't cover the fire. When Empress Dowager Zhou found out that the Empress was Qin Ning, she would be enraged and she didn't know how she would deal with her. Who would have thought that after waiting all night, before Empress Dowager Zhou found out the truth, she would hear this kind of heartbreaking news? She couldn't help feeling sad for Qin Ning. Such a good girl, finally becoming husband and wife with the emperor after experiencing so many twists and turns, but before they even finished the bridal room, her life and death were already unknown. This was hard for her to accept. What? It was like Empress Dowager Zhou had been hit in the head and was stunned. She didn't even notice the prayer beads in her hand falling to the ground. Say it again, what happened to the Empress? She grabbed Su Jin's wrist and said in a trembling voice. The Empress was bitten by a snake. Dr. Zhang has already checked the Empress and said that the snake venom is very strong. I'm afraid she can't be saved. After Su Jin said this, she couldn't hold it in anymore. Tears fell from her eyes and she began to sob in a low voice. Can't be saved. Then what about the Emperor? Is the Emperor all right? Was he bitten by a poisonous snake? The Emperor is fine, only the Empress was bitten by a snake. Oh. Hearing this, Empress Dowager Zhou slowly let go of her wrist. She stood up and her two faint brows knit together. She only felt shocked, but not sad. After all, she only had a good impression and appreciation of the girl her son had just married. There was no deep friendship between them. How could there be a poisonous snake in the bridal room? Could it be that the eunuchs and palace maids in the Emperor's palace were all dead? Are all the eunuchs and all the maids in the Emperor's palace? Truly. Pass on Aijia's imperial decree. All of Guan Osprey Palace's servants are to be executed. Leave no one alive. Su was. Dao up. Su Jin was shocked and looked up at Empress Dowager Zhou. Her lips moved, but she stopped herself. What do you want to say? Just say it all, stop hesitating. What hasn't this widow heard before, what can't I accept? Empress Dowager Zhou impatiently scolded. Reporting to the Empress Dowager, that poisonous snake did not crawl into the Guan Osprey Palace from outside, rather. It was sent in by the eldest princess. Su Jin looked at Empress Dowager Zhou's expression and replied in a small voice. Dowager. Chapter 980. Nonsense. How could this be possible? Lu and the Emperor have a deep sibling relationship. How could she do this kind of ridiculous thing? There must be a mistake. Su Jin, immediately investigate this matter for this widow. Empress Dowager Zhou was filled with anger as she forcefully slammed the table. Su Jin's body trembled and she looked down, kneeling on the ground without moving. Empress Dowager, this matter has been investigated and it was indeed done by the eldest princess. I heard that the eldest princess was angry that the Emperor married the Empress, so she placed a poisonous snake in the congratulatory gift box. She wanted to scare the Emperor and the Empress, but she never thought that the poisonous snake would bite the Empress. After the Emperor investigated this matter, he was filled with rage and has already given the order to capture the eldest princess. The eldest princess has confessed, saying that she was just playing a prank and didn't mean to harm the Emperor and Empress. The Emperor has already locked the eldest princess in the heavenly prison, waiting to be dealt with. Even though Empress Dowager Zhou had experienced countless storms and changes in her life, her heart couldn't help trembling when she heard this news. Her body slightly swayed and she couldn't stand still. Su Jin didn't care about anything else as she quickly crawled up from the ground and supported Empress Dowager Zhou. She said in a worried voice, Empress Dowager. She supported Empress Dowager Zhou back to her chair and patted her back. After a while, Empress Dowager Zhou came back to her senses and let out a sigh of relief. Su Jin, what you said just now, was it all true? Her eyes looked at Su Jin and her voice was weak. This servant's words are all true, I definitely wouldn't dare lie to the Empress Dowager. But how is this possible? How could Enlu do this kind of stupid thing? This widow doesn't believe it, this is impossible. Empress Dowager Zhou angrily slammed the table again and suddenly stood up. You said Enlu is locked in the heavenly prison. This widow wants to personally ask Enlu, I want to clarify this face to face. She held Su Jin's hand and impatiently walked out. Empress Dowager, the Emperor has given the order that no one can visit the eldest princess. I'm afraid you won't be able to see her even if you go, Su Jin said in a small voice. This widow is the Empress Dowager and Enlo is this widow's child. Others can't see her, but can't this widow see her? Empress Dowager Zhou gave a cold laugh. Empress Dowager, please calm your anger. This servant feels that you should first ask the emperor about this matter. Su Jin saw Empress Dowager Zhou's heart filled with anger and of her of speaking incoherently, so she couldn't help reminding her. Empress Dowager Zhou was reminded by her words and stopped moving. She felt like her forehead was about to split open and her heart was beating fast. She nodded. Su Jin, you're right. Aijia should go ask His Majesty first. Also, Aijia has to go visit the new Empress in Guan Osprey Palace. Su Jin's heart tightened, but she couldn't stop him. Yes, this servant will immediately send someone to prepare the imperial sedan. Empress Dowager Zhou had been in charge of the harem for many years, so she was only shocked for a bit before quickly calming down. When she sat in the sedan, there was nothing strange about her. She Lu of. She, and she, of quickly of Jin Lu, Zhou. She, he, of B, she of Lu. She, and. Because there was no sound of crying, it meant that the new Empress was still there. Chapter 981. Shao Si, come here. Empress Dowager Zhou said in a deep voice. Shao Si looked up to see Empress Dowager Zhou and was shocked. He quickly kneeled down, greetings to the Empress Dowager. Ever since he had been beaten by Empress Dowager Zhou, he would tremble whenever he saw Empress Dowager Zhou and his butt would ache. Where is the Emperor? Empress Dowager Zhou asked. Reporting to the Empress Dowager, the Emperor has been in his bedroom and has not come out because Dr. Zhang said that the Empress might not be able to make it. Shao Si replied with a lowered head. Empress Dowager Zhou's body slightly swayed. She held Su Jin's hand and calmed herself down before walking into the bedroom. She suddenly heard Imo Chuan's angry voice coming from the room. Shao Si, what are you sneaking around for? Didn't this one tell you to find the best doctor in the capital? Where is he? Shao Si was shocked and said in a small voice, Emperor, the best doctor in the capital is Dr. Zhang. With Dr. Zhang here, is there a need to find another doctor? Idiot, good for nothing, you've never done a single thing I've asked you to do properly. Quickly go find a doctor. Call all the doctors in the doctor yard over and also bring all the doctors in the capital to the palace. If they can't take care of the Empress, this one will take their lives. Empress Dowager Zhou was stunned. She did not dare believe that this irritable voice came from her cold as ice son. From the looks of it, her son really liked the girl he had just married. He was actually so angry because of her. As his mother, she was a little jealous. Shao Si gave a submissive reply before leaving. Emperor, how is the Empress? This widow has just heard of this matter. With Dr. Zhang here, you don't need to be this angry. Even if you kill all the doctors in the capital, can you save the Empress? Empress Dowager Zhou walked through the door and the smell of medicine filled her nose. There was not only Imo Chuan in the room, there was also Dr. Zhang. There was a thick veil hanging over the bed and one could vaguely see a person lying in the veil. A white as snow wrist was outside the veil and Dr. Zhang was currently taking her pulse. Imo Chuan was standing in front of the bed, staring at the person in the veil without blinking. There was a look of worry on his face that was filled with emotions. Empress Dowager Zhou's heart was shocked. Other than the Qin family's girl, she had never seen her son care about another girl like this. Your son greets mother. Hearing Empress Dowager Zhou enter, Mo Chuan turned around and bowed to Empress Dowager Zhou. Greetings to the Empress Dowager. Dr. Zhang also trembled as he stood up to give a bow. No need to be so polite, this widow is here to see the Empress. Empress Dowager Zhou walked over to the bed and looked into the curtains. With just a glance, she was shocked, almost not daring to believe that the person she was looking at was the girl she had chosen for her son. He saw that the face of the girl on the bed was completely black. The birthmark that originally took up most of her face had turned deep purple, making her look even more terrifying. She lay motionless on the bed, lifeless. Even if Empress Dowager Zhou didn't understand medicine, she could see that this girl wasn't breathing in much and wasn't breathing out much. She wouldn't last much longer. Dowager Zhou said. Su Jin's body trembled as tears streamed down her cheeks. She forced herself not to cry out loud. Dr. Zhang, the Empress poison. Is there any hope of curing it? Empress Dowager Zhou knew that it was useless to ask, but she still had to ask. Chapter 982. Empress Dowager Zhou gave a low sigh. She looked at Chen Ning on the bed again. There was only sympathy in her eyes, but there was no sadness at all. Pitiful child, this widow appreciates your talent, so I chose you as the Empress. It's a pity that you are unlucky, actually getting married, Anne. She shook her head again and did not finish. Mo Chuan's hands clenched as he stared at Empress Dowager Zhou without blinking. Mother, what do you mean? Are you blaming her for being unlucky and not being able to take the position of Empress, so she suffered this disaster? He said in a sharp voice. Empress Dowager Zhou was not angry. She took his hand in a comforting manner and patted the back of his hand. Emperor, Mother is not a cold-blooded person, this widow is just feeling sorry for her. Mo Chuan said in a cold voice, sorry. If it wasn't for Mother giving birth to a good daughter, how could your son's Empress become like this? Empress Dowager Zhou's hand slightly trembled. She looked up and said, Emperor, have you investigated this matter clearly? Was it really done by Enlu? Your son has already investigated everything and Enlu has already admitted it. What, Mother didn't come here today to visit your son's Empress, but to exonerate Enlu? Mo Chuan's voice was a bit unkind. Empress Dowager Zhou's heart was a bit angry, but she didn't show it on her face at all. Emperor, do you think Mother is a person who can't distinguish between public and private matters? If this matter was really done by Enlu, this widow will not protect her, but if it wasn't done by her, this widow does not want her to be a scapegoat. Mo Chuan's expression changed, but he did not say anything. Empress Dowager Zhou then said, this widow is the daughter I gave birth to, this widow is very clear on her personality. If it's talking about fighting, she's the best, but if it's talking about using this kind of method to hurt people, she would never do it with her personality. Your son didn't want to believe that this matter was done by Enlu, but when it happened, your son was by the Empress side, so your son clearly saw it. If Mother doesn't believe me, please look here. Mo Chuan did not explain and walked over to the table to the side to pick up a red gift box. He placed it in front of Empress Dowager Zhou and slowly opened the box. Empress Dowager Zhou and Su Jin looked into the box and saw a thick white snake with a black base. The snake's head and body had already been separated and the fierce-looking snake head revealed its fangs, scaring the two of them into a cold sweat. This. Even though Empress Dowager Zhou had experienced many storms, when she saw this snake, she still felt her tongue go numb. Imperial Mother, you can take a closer look. This gift box came from Enli's residence. I saw this poisonous snake crawl out of the gift box with my own eyes and bite her right hand. Empress Dowager Zhou said. Dowager and said, Ning, Ling. Dowager Ling said, Ling. Although Empress Dowager Zhou was his birth mother and he listened to Empress Dowager Zhou, his filial piety was not foolishly filial. When this matter happened, Yi Tingxian suspected that it was done by Empress Dowager Zhou. Mo Chuan also had this suspicion in his heart, but as a son, he couldn't say it out loud. Chen Ning's suggestion of beating the grass to scare the snake was exactly what he wanted. But he was worried that the one startled would be Empress Dowager Zhou, this large snake that he didn't want to believe at all. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.